And just like that, it is already just 59 more days to go for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Hello, folks. Welcome to the AM show, the midweek edition of the show, where we'll be serving you breakfast from now to 10 a.m. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and I do this with Benjamin Akakpo. Now, this morning, what do we have in store for you? We'll start by serving you the AM news, the latest details of events making the airways from within the country. And then we'll get into our news review segment. Dr Asante is head for Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana and a political analyst, and he'll be joining us to review the various stories captured in the newspapers. Then, Mufta Nabil Abdullahi will bring you AM Sports, the latest chronicles, I like to say, from the world of sports. Now, for our big stories, which comes right after that, government is racing against time to avert a shutdown of the country as organized labor insists their measures are not sufficient enough to pull the brakes on the planned nationwide strike due in about 48 hours. Now, this is despite a setback suffered by the announcement of the Ghana Medical Association to exclude itself from this mass labor action intended to force government to declare a state of emergency because of illegal mining, as we all know it, galamsey. So we'll discuss the emerging issues. We also know that some schools voted on whether or not to participate. I'm talking about the teacher unions, whether or not to participate in this nationwide industrial action. We're on that beat and we'll bring you details. And then, today being a Wednesday, we'll bring you AM Business. And on that front, Ghana Chamber of Construction Industries identified taxes on imported equipment for construction projects as a major threat to their operations. James Ishen will be on that beat and he'll be telling us more. And then we'll bring you another installment of our Climate Focus series this Wednesday. You want to stay with us? From now, you can join the conversation via social media handles at Joy News on TV. And later on, when we open the phone lines, I hope we get to open the phone lines today so we can interact with you, so you can share your thoughts on everything happening from galamsey to that family values match and so on. So, welcome aboard the AM show. My name is Sweetie. Like I've said to you already, let's start with the AM news now. This is the AM News. Let's start with details. Convener of the Fix the Country movement and leader of a recent protest to demand governmental action against illegal mining has been denied bail 3 times in a row. Oliver Bakavomawo has been denied bail twice by the Circuit Court and once by the High Court and will continue to be in detention. Meanwhile, 52 other persons who the police had charged for various offences in relation to the protest have now been admitted bail after spending 2 weeks in custody. Member of our Legal Affairs Desk, Dr Asante, has been shuttling between the High Court and Circuit Court and reports.
It's been more than 2 weeks in either police or prison cells for some 53 protesters who were arrested in relation to the Stop Galamsey protest. 52 of them now finally having been granted bail by either the Circuit Court or the Accra High Court. And they are now undergoing the process to ensure that they meet the bail conditions and go home to be with their families. Oliver Bakavomawo, the leader of the Fix the Country movement and organizer of that protest, however, will continue to be behind bars because both the High Court and the Circuit Court on 3 different occasions have refused to grant him bail. They have cited some legal issues that does not allow them to grant him bail, in particular having to do with Section 96(5)(c) of Act 30 that talks about an accused person in another trial who has been granted bail and the apprehension by the court that that person might go and commit another offense if he's granted bail. Those are legal issues that the prosecution have been raising in court, that the court have largely been agreeing with. But the lawyers for the protesters say they are going to ensure that those legal issues are dealt with, and they expect that very soon Oliver Bakavomawo will be granted bail. The court also took aim at the prosecution for not filing some documents. We have been talking to lawyers for the protesters who say they are even going to demand more from the prosecution.
It's been a successful day so far, and all we can say is thanks to God. Almighty for the victory we have chalked today. And I'm sure at the end of the day, the court will pronounce all the accused persons as innocent persons.
Oliver Barker-Vormawor's bail again application denied. What is going to be the next decisions going forward when it comes to him?
That one raises legal concerns. So we have to address the court on that legal concerns, the same legal concerns that were raised at the High Court. So in the coming days, we will address the court on those legal concerns, why the court should overlook those legal concerns and grant him bail.
There's an issue of the prosecution not filing some documents, some processes. The court is now asking them to do so by the next agenda dates. What do you make of that?
Yes, that one is in order. And we have a lot of documents that we will be asking that the prosecution to provide, because so far the documents they have provided are not what we are looking for. We are looking for more documents from them. So at the next agenda date, we will put that on the table and get them to provide us with those further and better particulars.
State prosecutors opposed many of the bail applications. The others that they asked the court to deal with its discretion. The state prosecutors have now been asked by the court to ensure that all the necessary documents are filed for the trial to start. In fact, the High Court ordered the trial court to actually commence Oliver Barker-Vormawor's trial within 72 hours or consider granting him bail. These were some of the issues that were raised in court by the lawyers, and the judge said that 72 hours has not yet been reached, and when it gets there, the court may consider granting Oliver Barker-Vormawor bail. But as of now, the good news for the families of the 52 persons who have now been granted bail is that their family, their kith and kin, will now come to them in the house and spend the weekend with them at least, as they have now been granted bail, with the exception of Oliver Barker-Vormawor, who will continuously be in custody until a court of competent jurisdiction grants him bail. Reporting from the Circuit Court here in Accra, my name is Dr Asante for Joy News.
Nothing will happen to them. Innocent citizens are being jailed in this Instawar prison. Prisoners are being fed 1 cedi 80 pesos. Sick nation. Sick nation. Depleted nation. Useless nation.
Well, away from that, economic activities in Nandom municipality have come to a halt following torrential rains in the area. For the past 2 days, the area has experienced torrential rains it hasn't seen for years, resulting in violent flash floods submerging most roads in the area. Key among them is the Kambaha Bridge, which is under construction. The whole bridge area and the main Lara Highway have been inundated, with water cutting off the Nandom municipality from 5 other districts and municipalities in the region. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam visited Kamba and now reports.
Torrential rains in the Upper West region the past couple of days has resulted in most roads in the region being cut off. One of such roads is the Nandom Lora Highway, which for now has been inundated by water, which has really affected economic activities in the area.
Lying in between the Nandom and Lora municipalities is Kamba Dam, which sometimes overflows its banks and had the water spilled into the main highway, causing vehicular traffic and getting commuters stranded. For the past couple of days, the enclave has witnessed torrential rains, which have submerged several acres of farms and destroyed roads. No human casualty has so far been recorded. However, the Nandom municipality is completely cut off from the rest of the region.
For now, Nandom is on its own, Lora is on its own. Nobody can move anywhere.
We bumped into Patrick Zato, who got stranded on his way to a funeral at Nandom.
I'm going for a funeral like that, I'm standing here. Now currently I can't move. We all got stuck. Members, colleagues of mine who were coming returned to Lora, and I'm just standing here spying how the water is moving. Currently there is a Cabinet festival in Lora, and Nandom and its surroundings, including other community beyond Nandom, cannot attend this Cabinet festival.
Another is this driver who parked his Burkina Faso-bound vehicle at Lora loaded with heavy goods. There are dozens of them stationed there, waiting for the water to recede. For now, we don't know what to do. The owners of the goods are calling us, but we are locked up here, he lamented. Few months ago, government had made attempt to fix the old and jaded Kamba Bridge. Construction work for the new bridge was about being completed and inspected by Road and Highways Minister Asante. The violent flood waters have not made nonsense of it. Both bridges are now submerged. Working on the bridge through the violent flood waters is not for the faint-hearted. One driver decided to give it a try, walking the over 400 meters from the Nandom end to the lower end. It took him about an hour.
But I don't, people say the bridge or cut or what, I'm afraid. But I take my own to give it to God, so I come and cross.
Some people say that you were embarked on a suicide mission, you want to kill yourself.
No. But I don't want to kill myself, but because of the water, I stand back there. So I ought to force and come and cross and go and take my car. And that is why I cross the water. They come and do it for us. Because they say they take Ghana money and come and do the bridge, but they don't do the bridge. If you come and see the bridge water is serious past this one.
Our Power Soldier Minister Stephen Yakubu, who was on his way to the Kobene Festival, has to proceed to the Kamba to see things for himself, to see what solutions they have for the people.
But we hope that the water will recede as time goes on. Then we will now see if there's any damage to that particular road. But for now, we are redirecting the cars on the other side, both ends, so that the cars will not come through here at all. And we are also trying to get hold of the highways and then to find out, they are the technical people, to see exactly what we can do. But for now, this is natural disaster. No one can do anything about it till the water basically flows over the road. Then we can see any damage that has been done. Then we see what we can do about it.
The Dangban Road, which would have been the alternative route, has also suffered same fate, truncating the economic livelihoods of the people. Municipal Chief Executive for Laura, Jacob Derry, noted that for now, they are at their worst end, and if the situation continues, they will have to implore the services of boats and canoes for easy transportation.
They can't use here, they can also use Dangbang, but they can come through Lambuse, then hit Boo, and they can come into Laura to enjoy the Kobene Festival.
An extra 85 kilometers.
Yeah, but that is what we have to contend with for now. If not that, what can we do? Yeah, if we have continuous rains, then we'll have to wait. Because for now, here, temporary measure, then we have to bring in boats. And you know, the boats too cannot ferry the heavy trucks across, but that's for human beings. The boats can ferry them across to the other side. So that will just only be the temporary measure that we can put in place.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salah, Kamba.
Let's get into our election headquarters, and the national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, has advised electorates in the Guan constituency to vote against the New Patriotic Party for denying them a representative in parliament for 4 years. According to him, this would prevent political parties from taking them for granted in the future and also allocate the area what it truly deserves. Mr. Nketia said this during his campaign tour of the Guan constituency in the OT region.
The national chairman of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, led a team to canvass for votes in the newly created Guan constituency. The area, carved out of the Hoho constituency in the Volta region and added to the Oti region, which was created in 2018, had no representative in parliament over the last 4 years. Mr. Nketia feels this act is enough justification for electorates in the Guan constituency to vote against the governing New Patriotic Party on December 7th.
So let us fight them back, at least to demonstrate that you cannot treat a group of people in the country, take their vote away with just a letter written by one person. And that for 4 years, that group cannot be in parliament. Even with this one, the struggle to make sure that this constituency elects an MP. It hasn't even ended. It is still ongoing. People are still contemplating whether they should allow you to have your own MP. And they are citing technicalities and things in the courts and other places. To demonstrate that, you have serious revulsion about the treatment that has been meted out to you.
The Guan NDC parliamentary candidate, Fred Agbanyo, reminded electorate of its vision for the area and appealed for peaceful elections.
Various interest groups in the Sagnerugu constituency have handpicked the Electoral Commission as the key institution that can ensure this year's election is violence-free. The interest groups, which include people identified as potential troublemakers, believe the EC is key in helping the country have a peaceful and transparent election. This was disclosed during some focus group discussions organized by Tudu Center for Leadership and Development as part of a peace-building initiative ahead of the December polls.
Center for Leadership and Development, a non-governmental organization in the northern region, has over the past few months been engaging communities identified as triggers of violence in elections in the northern region, especially the December polls. The Sagnerugu constituency has been identified as a hotbed which has the potential to experience violence in the December polls. It's based on this background that the NGO is meeting with these interest groups. Speaking at the Damankunyele community, co-founder of Tudu Center for Leadership and Development, Osman Mubarak, said all the communities they have engaged so far believe the EC has a crucial role to play in ensuring a violent-free election.
One thing we have observed is that key among the findings during our interaction with these interest groups are one, they have all agreed that there is the possibility that we could encounter electoral violence. And one of them, the causes, they believe that Electoral Commission is key in helping us have a peaceful and transparent elections. I mean, all of them, all the communities we have engaged, they all believe that EC will play a key role in getting us a successful and a peaceful election. Another thing that has cut across is the abuse of drugs during election and the election day.
Assemblyman for the Damankunyele electoral area outlined some of the things that trigger violence in that polling area.
Causes of electoral violence in this electoral area or Damankunyele community per se. One is illiteracy. 2, strangers voting in the community. 3, jumping of queues. We have competitive politics. We also have incitement and hate speech, drug abuse, and alcohol.
The presiding member of the Sagnerugu municipality, Salim Abubakar, said the engagement was to get the input of communities and how to address these issues before the December polls.
Started it, that was last 2 weeks ago, engaging all the chief policies to make sure that there will be peace after and during the elections. And when you look at certain things, election violence, today's our engagement started with what? Election violence. What causes election violence? And election violence, I can say that it's like disagreement and agreement. These are the two factors that always bring these conflicts. So we are here today to listen to the people, their inputs and output, how we can come together to find solution to this election violence.
And away from our election headquarters, all hail Pando Senior High School, riding high on the wings of victory. They are winners of the 5th edition of the Energy Commission Senior High School Renewable Energy Challenge. The final event under the theme, application of renewable energy technologies in solving land degradation and water pollution. So, Dabukpa Technical Institute, Ahantaman Girls Senior High School, Ola Girls Senior High School, Obuasi Senior High Technical School, and St. James Seminary Senior High School also fight for the top prize. Jacqueline and Somayabwa has more.
The grand finale, held at the Accra International Conference Center, was held under the theme Application of Renewable Energy Technologies in Solving Land Degradation and Water Pollution. And Bando SHS, well, they just didn't compete. They anticipated their win, electrifying the judges and audience alike.
The other niggas were making noise. We didn't make noise. What did you do? We're there, natural. Calm and collected. Mindful and demure. We maintained our steez. And what did you do? We delivered.
The competition saw stiff rivalry from the Bokba Technical Institute, Ahantaman Girls Senior High, Ola Girls Senior High, Obuasi Senior High Technical School, and St. James Seminary Senior High. But in the end, Bando's winning project focused on harnessing plastic waste as a valuable resource, turning what's often seen as trash into gold. Their innovative approach not only impressed the judges, but also offered a sustainable solution to plastic pollution. In the end, they switched on a winning performance, leaving the others in their shade.
Yes. We what? GGI what?
Go get it!
We have no time to waste. What do you do? Dead! Why are you staying? Why are you staying?
So mesmerizing. I knew it. Because if you had listened to our anthem from the onset, we said, "O blessed Pasek, not invade thy soil." Therefore, there is no way Pasekan's soil is going to be invaded.
The Bokba Technical Institute, the first runner-ups, were still beaming with joy despite not taking home the trophy.
I told you the early hours that we were going to win, but we couldn't make it. So second is the same as first, so we made it again. So maybe next year we'll try our best.
Officer in charge of renewable energy regulation at the Energy Commission, Bernice Notte, praised the Winning Schools project and revealed that all projects from participating schools would be further developed.
One of those projects really stood out to me throughout the regional competition because they were turning plastics into something usable. We are looking at not just refining the winning project, but we are also looking at giving all the projects to CSIR to see which ones will be commercially viable that they can also bring to the markets for commercialization.
So while the light at the ACC may be off, the bright ideas from these young minds will continue to shine on. For Joy News, I am Jacqueline and Sama Yaboa.
High school is the second. The second is same as the first. So we don't feel depressed, we feel impressed. So
well, congratulations to Pasek. And on that note, let's get into our business updates with Benjamin Akakpo.
Welcome to our business updates. Let's start with some economy-related matters. And Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam insists Ghana's economy is back to pre-pandemic levels. According to him, the country has recorded trade surpluses in recent times with a trade balance of $1.8 billion, adding that the government had put in prudent measures to ensure that the economy was robust. Some economists, including Professor Patrick Esuming, have cautioned that the economy is still facing challenges. But speaking at the maiden edition of the Boardroom Governance Summit held in Accra, Dr. Adams said the macroeconomic indicators showed that the economy had recovered.
Economic growth is robust, and we say that the rebound has really been strong. Last year, we projected to grow at 1.5%. We grew in real GDP growth at 2.9%. In the first half of this year, 2024, we grew at 5.8%. And ladies and gentlemen, this is more than first half year growth of 2019 by 0.4 percentage points. In effect, what I'm saying is that economic growth is returning, in fact, has returned to our pre-COVID growth trajectory. And this is why we can say that the economy is really back. We also have brought the surplus, the trade balances from deficit to surpluses. Our trade balance is now in a surplus. Half year, this year, we've already recorded a trade balance, a trade surplus of 1.8 billion United States dollars. And so the economy is really back, and we must be poised to take advantage of the opportunity the government has provided to the people of this country to accelerate the growth further.
Let's head to the stock market now. And Managing Director for the Ghana Stock Exchange, Abena Amwa, has highlighted the need for stakeholders within the financial space to put in place policies that will empower the youth with financial literacy skills. According to her, this will encourage them to develop interest in finance management and investment, a move which will support the growth of the capital market and impact economic development. She was speaking at the Ring the Bell for the 2024 financial literacy season.
Technology for us is what we take to leapfrog our development for exponential growth. And so we are very focused on improving and adding more digital solutions into our capital markets and creating an ecosystem where everyone can participate. My team will tell you every day I visualize and I have a dream. I have a dream. I have a dream of an app. Let's call it Ghana Investment Marketplace, for want of a better name for it. It will be on every single mobile phone. Ghana Investment Marketplace. Let's call it an app. On the YAM phone, through all the digital phones. And on it, you want to move some money from your Momo and buy a treasury bill. You go in and do that. You want to buy into a mutual fund. You go in and do that. You want to buy an educational policy, insurance product. You go in and do that.
On that, is it bullish or bearish note, we cap off the business updates. But handing over now to Sweetie Abochi.
And that's the end of the AM News on the AM Show. Dr. Asante will be joining us for the news review, and he's head for the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Stay tuned. We are airborne. Welcome
Here
to
we
the
are.
news review segment.
Back again. Ms. Lavender.
Oh, here we go again.
Lilac.
I'm going to tell you about the color I'm wearing. Yes, let's get into it.
But you should know the color you're wearing.
What color is it?
Lavender.
Mm-hmm.
But someone would say lilac as well. But I think lavender.
Light purple, a shade of purple.
You know, all of those shades have their own. That's why we have purple, we have violet, we have lavender, and all those.
Ghana is hard, though. I'm thinking about.
You see, these are things that will distract you. So you heard the finance minister during the business updates. He says the economy is back on track and everything. Of course, we're getting trade surpluses now, about $1.9 billion. I hope it's trickling into your pocket.
Your pocket?
No, I'm asking about you.
Let's be mischievous. I don't even have a pocket.
Or is it trickling into your shoes? Your beige-colored shoes.
Let's get into the news stories, Benjamin, because
Anyway, let's get into those and our guests this morning, as always. Our usual victim, in quotation marks, our very own Dr. Asante, my former lecturer from way back. He is a political scientist and head of the Center for European Studies at the University of Ghana. Doc, nemawache na pome.
Yawura, good morning to you, Ben, and good morning to you, CT, and our viewers.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Sweetie.
Yeah. Doc, so let's get straight into your thoughts then. You have about 2 minutes to walk us through that.
Right. I would take my, statement from the motto of my hall, the Commonwealth Hall. Truth stands, all right? And I'm going to look at it vis-a-vis this organized labor strike and how it dovetails into the type of conversation we are seeing. In politics, there is what we call reward and punishment. and that whatever decision you take today, you are rewarded for it or punished for it. There is no two ways about it. And that in politics, one thing is also clear. There is always at the point where the reality will dawn on you. Why am I saying all these things? When this galamsey menace, continue to the level that people decided to talk about it, Ghana Medical Association was quick to give us what they deem fit. And for me, that was a good decision they took by demanding a number of things from the government. And we saw that. We applauded them. Only for them to chicken out at the 11th hour. It is not surprising to me because in politics, things happen and people take decisions, and when you need them most, they chicken out. It's normal. But it also brings to the sharp focus what we see in politics about the hypocrisy in Ghanaian politics, and the politics of double standards is always there. And so as a student of politics, I'm not worried about it, but that there is always the truth that we have in politics that will definitely dawn on everybody. The problem we have in Ghanaian politics is that we are not able to speak truth to power when the time is needed for people to show that. You see them checking out. But the little that I've learned about, civil society activities, including the role of Ghana Medical Association, which started way back in the 70s, Association of Registered Professional Bodies. They were fantastic, very, in Ghanaian politics. And the good news is what I am, hearing from the likes of Dr. Nene Abayate and others within the association who believe that no, the decision of the association to chicken out of this all-important exercise at the 11th hour is not on.
Okay.
I salute those who think alike along the lines of Dr. Abayete and all that. And I must say that there are fine gentlemen in there who believe that what is happening is wrong and that we need to speak truth to power. It's not the case that they are playing any politics, but they've seen it in their consulting rooms. They've seen it in their laboratories and all that, and they believe that this is the way to go. I salute them, and I want them to continue from that trajectory. But I believe that the rest of organized labor will do the needful and then send this message to the government that enough is enough. We cannot stay in this country where rules are not enforced and that we are running back towards state of nature. Nobody will accept that. Government
so, Doc, you think it's a political play? That's the GMA is out and the some teacher
I'm
unions
not saying that.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. But that decision to chicken out at the 11th hour is what I am attacking. Okay. But I know it is not a decision of all of them. But of course, once it's coming from the association. So I like the people like Dr. Bayati and those who are thinking along the same lines, that they believe that that decision was not on. And I respect that. But look, in activism and then civil society activities, you should expect some of these deviations. It's normal. But I like the spirit of organized labor that they are moving forward, taking this matter to a notch further, and I salute them. That is all.
I'd just like to find out about this from you, because it could have a crippling effect on many sectors of our national life if there's a wholesale industrial action like this. But for the principle, I support. However, how do you feel? Maybe this is the only way we can get our leaders to act. Maybe this is the only way for organized labor to lay down their tools, though I also know that there will be consequences of same. But maybe this is the only way. But interestingly, you mentioned Dr. Abayate. He's calling for the Ghana Medical Association's president to be removed. Okay, that is one. And then you have TUTAG. Since you're a lecturer, I wanted to run this by you. A member of TUTAG has been saying that, listen, there was not enough consultation done. Dr. Solomon Foko expressing that he does not understand the rationale behind the industrial action. And some others have come against him saying, this is not the way to go and you are out of line. As an academic, as a member of UTAG, what usually is the process? And do you think this gentleman is wrong in his positioning. Just those big ones.
This discussion has been in the air. The mother body has issued a statement to support this process. So everybody is not new to this issue. Is he oblivious of the fact that the water, quality has changed? And does he want to know now? Or is it the time that they have to tell him? The reality will dawn on him if he continue to deceive himself into believing that he needs a certain tutorial and a certain level of conversation before he takes a decision. The reality will dawn on all of us that a day will come, if we are not careful, all of us will be patients at the hospital dealing with one problem or not. But you see, any society worth its salt, you don't sit down for decision to get to that apogee, the highest level, and it creates problems for all of us. You need to act and add fact. Move yourself within the framework of the law, but make sure that you tell those who hold political power to act and act very fast. That is not a crime. He is entitled to his opinion, but the mother body itself, you've seen the voting patterns in the association. It tells you that they will not support this. They will continue from where others are stopping. That's it.
Okay, let's get into the
Sweetie, if you look at the water situation, we've been seeing pictures of the Wager area and how even getting into the waterworks is beginning to turn brown. I mean, I have seen images of that. If that turns out to be true,
And Ben, just a quick one. Sometimes people think that, they are capable of importing water and then drinking, using that, to replace all that they have and drink it at home and all that. Ask yourself, the one you use for what? Your kitchen,
cooking, washing,
the one you use to bath, and the rest of them, where do you get them? They should go and talk to the scientists. Once your body get contact with that contaminated water, the effect is enormous. What are they talking about? Hypocrisy in Ghanaian politics. This must cease.
Even away or before you get to the scientists to understand the gravity of the situation, the people in Ashaman and other places where they don't have potable water, who have to buy water, the way they struggle, they have to buy water in tanks every week or so. You have to buy water, you have to manage water. It's not an easy life. Anyway, let's get into
and my fears? My fears is that if this thing get to voter, a time gets, there will be a time that if we are not careful, we are not going to get water running through Akosomo Dam. It will be mad. And that, for me, my worry, the biggest worry. I'm not a scientist, natural scientist, but I'm looking at it from a point of view of political science and, in terms of the eco-politics. And that is something that we have to be careful about.
If we get there, we'll generate the electricity from mud. Maybe by that time, science would have developed to the point where... I mean, it's obvious we want to get there. So let's... go through here.
Right, so on the daily graphic, Zoomlion Nigeria secures 40 million euros waste management deal. Election not religious contest, GPCC says to political parties. Independent media regulation vital for clean election. Ashanti Bauxite Limited unveils mine refinery plans. Let's start from this story about election not religious contest. The Ghana Pentecostal and Charismatic Council has admonished political parties not to make this year's general election a religious contest. It said it had observed with grave concern recent religious and sectarian campaign messages being advocated and promoted on political party platforms and at religious gatherings. And a statement by the National Executive Council of the GPCC made available to Daily Graphic said it was a fact that for the first time in the checkered history of the country, the two most popular political parties in the 2024 general election, that is the NDC and the MPP, would be featuring presidential candidates from the Christian and the Muslim faith, respectively. I want to quickly do two more stories before I come to you. In Kenya, MPs are set to vote on Deputy President's impeachment. It's corruption related. He will be delivering a statement before the voting begins, and then after, they'll decide whether or not he gets to stay in office.
I thought that vote had been held already.
No, it hasn't. It's happening today or tomorrow. I can check.
Well, I read a story about it being
it hasn't happened yet.
held. So, but anyway.
Right. So there was a story I wanted to do about Ghana tapping into the labor Great. So tap into labor migration to boost revenue. World Bank consultant advises government. I mean, we are trooping out in drones anyway. So a management information system consultant to the World Bank, Dr Asante, has urged the government to tap into the multi-billion labor migration industry to boost revenue from taxes. He said labor migration was one avenue that countries all over the world were making a lot of money from. Thus, the need for governments to make a conscious effort to explore and regulate labor migration of Ghanaians abroad to protect their rights and tap into the multi-billion industry. To achieve that, he said, the government must sign bilateral relation agreements with governments of other countries that required Ghanaian professionals. And he also said regulating migration would ensure citizens' rights to decent work, decent work, well-negotiated pay and shelter, as well as enable the government to rake in revenue from taxes paid by citizens. On the back page, this story I want to do, torrential rains cut off Nandom in Wa. So 3 days of torrential rainfall in the Upper West region has cut off Nandom from the regional capital, Wa. The rain has, it has cut off an entire community. So the Kamba River has overflown its banks as a result, making it risky to travel from Nandom to Laura. Likewise, trucks loaded with goods heading to neighboring locked countries have been compelled to park and wait for the water to subside before they can continue their journey. It's 2024, it's 59 days to elections, and we are still dealing with these issues. Doc, there are so many other stories in the Daily Graphic, but these three first for your quick reflections.
I think I will look at the labor migration and what we can derive from it.
Yeah.
And I'll tie it to something that I read when I was a level 300 student, the Africa and the Global System. Professor Ali Mazrui, the late professor of political science, wrote a book, and it was a lecture that was published by the BBC, the Rate Lecture. He churned out a book out of it titled The African Condition. And he came up with 6 paradoxes. Time will not permit us, so I will touch on only one. Is that Africa is the richest, yet the poorest. All right? We are rich in natural resources. Look at a country like Ghana. Anywhere you dig, you are likely to find oil or mineral. And yet, we are poor. And we see our people. Can you imagine that? You see our young people leaving the shores of Ghana to see greener pastures elsewhere. And even there is also economic value of it. We are not able to manage it. Come on. We need to rethink. All right. When I was a little boy at Electoral, we had people who were teaching coming from India, Indian teachers, the Cuban teachers, and the rest of them, earning money for themselves, and their countries were also benefiting. Why can't you? So I support this call that yes, you cannot stop people from migration, but you can tap from that and then make the best out of it. That whatever conditions that you need to set for them and that country and then the people, you do that so that some will go, have experience, they come back and all that, so that it will not be deficit. Because look, sometimes the pain is that the state spend a lot of resources to train these people. And because you have no job, they leave the shores of Ghana and we don't recoup anything. Yeah. When I was the editor, I recall I took notice of that, and I wrote an editorial about how government spend a lot of resources training people, and at the end of the day, they leave the shores of Ghana. The state doesn't get anything from it. And now this conversation is up. I support that, and let us make sure that the resources that we have, develop them and tap them and use them for the best of what society. Look at what Qatar. We are sitting here and just close our eyes to the fact that look, the sea and others are taking over the town and then the whole area. Meanwhile, we can protect that, and then the salt industry there can be developed to the highest and make life better and all that. What are we doing? God has blessed us with all resources, white gold, which is salt, and then other minerals, and yet we are poor. Africa is the richest, yet the poorest.
Thank you, Doc. If there are no other reflections on the other stories, let's do Ben's papers.
Yeah, the Nandom story is a sorry story. That in this age and time, we have such natural occurrences hitting the town hard to the extent that it is cut off. It tells us that we have not done enough for our people and for ourselves, and that we need to look sharp and then double our effort to make sure that we bring everybody to speed. All of us contribute to the national kitty. So you don't expect one group to be hit like this. It tells you that infrastructure development and a whole lot of things are missing. Yes, I know I can concede that government had done its bit, but it's not enough. If you look at it from the point of view of money that we waste and use it for unnecessary things, such as what cathedral that we can find, such as Palugu Dam that doesn't exist. We can channel this into what? The development of these people and let our people breathe a sigh of war relief. After all, we are all part of this country and we own this country.
Okay. Benjamin.
Let's do the Daily Guide newspaper. 31 more protesters get bail. AG files trial papers. Good luck, Jonathan praises election security measures. We won't join anti-galamsey strike. That's according to the GMA. GRA chair touts digitalization benefits. ABL unveils Nyinahin and Pasaso transformation plan. And I'll make Obwase like Joburg, Kofi Annan says so. Sudan will surely fall. That's the back page. Sudan will surely fall, Otto Addo. I don't know what to make of this second coming of Otto Addo, really. I don't know what to make of it, but let me just leave it hanging there. Messi salutes retiring Iniesta. Jordan leads Stars against Sudan, and all set for Memory Lane PGA Championship. Andres Iniesta, of course, one of those Barcelona and Spain legends. And back in the day when he was doing his thing, amazing in there. But the Daily Guide newspaper, let me start with this one on page 3. We won't join anti-galamsey strike. The Ghana Medical Association has stated that its members will not be joining the nationwide strike scheduled for October 10, called by organized labor to protest illegal mining activities, also known as galamsey. According to the GMA, it has not declared a roadmap for industrial action despite its solidarity with organized labor in the fight against galamsey. We all know the story. We all know how it goes and what has been said, and Dr. Abayate seeking the removal of the GMA president will leave the GMA to do what the GMA wants to do. 31 more protesters get bail. AG files trial papers. Another group of 31 persons arrested during the Democracy Hub demonstration against illegal mining were yesterday granted bail by a circuit court in Accra. They, together with 22 other persons, are standing trial for offences including unlawful assembly, assault on public officers, and unlawful damage. My only concern here, so Felicity Nelson, together with others, granted bail, yes, but the processes that must be taken from the court's end to the Ghana Police Service's end have not been concluded. And so they came out with that statement yesterday, pointing to some of these matters. Granted bail, but still incarcerated. That is exactly where they find themselves. And I feel more and more people are beginning to think it is just to show them, let them smell pepper. You know, you've been granted bail. Technically, it's a technicality, but you're still in the cooler and you're not getting out anytime soon. You see, when some of us talk about these things, people think, oh, you are not looking at their side. I've always said, those who went and vandalized banners and stuff, it is wrong. It is not right. I am not supporting those actions. I'm not supporting and using unapproved routes and blocking the road, creating a nuisance for the public. But not all of them were engaged in that. But some of them have these charges on them when they were not engaged in that. And you see, you can sit somewhere and be political with this and think, oh yeah, let them be there and all of that. Until Sebeto. Etoa. That is where you see that, oh, this doesn't feel good. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. And Let My Vote Count Alliance, some of the things that were done then were not right against demonstrators. If they were not right then, they are not right now. You see? But we did a country inside. Me, I like these things because then when in future someone also becomes a victim and you were touting, we'll go and bring you your receipt. Then you will know that, oh, what you said, now it's coming back to bite you. Let's go on the international front. Let me do this story about I'll make Obwase like Joburg, Kofi Annan saying so. So an aspiring parliamentary candidate for Obwase West, Kofi Appianing Enning, has made a bold promise to transform Obuasi into a thriving metropolis comparable to Johannesburg, South Africa's economic powerhouse. This vision, he said, would elevate Obuasi's status as a major mining city in Ghana. Speaking during his campaign launch at the weekend, Mr. Enin indicated that despite being Ghana's iconic mining hub, Obuasi surprisingly lags behind in development, a stark contrast to its rich gold mining heritage spanning over 120 years. Not just Obuasi, Takwa, and other places. Like I said, I always, when I listen to people speak like this, I take it with a grain of salt, especially coming from a member of parliament who technically is not, I mean, someone aspiring to be a member of parliament, who technically is not an agent of development. But what have we not heard? Accra, the cleanest city in Africa, and corruption, this and that. So I'm sorry, but me, every politician now, NDC or MPP, I take what they say with a grain of salt. That's how I see it. Doc, any reflections on this before if I'll get into anything?
I think I will start from where you ended. And that's what you just said, that any politician who speaks, you take it with a grain of salt. I support that because you and I are alive to the fact that politics sometimes goes with lies and deception. If you read Donovan and Co., their definition of politics. So any human being who is listening to any political message, have at the back of your mind that sometimes you can be deceived, you can be manipulated and all that. And that tells you that, look, sometimes you ask yourself, why do people want to promise things that they cannot deliver? I mean, more often than not, when you hear politicians, especially those aspiring to become members of parliament, they promise all manner of developmental programs. But you realize that the duty of an MP, strictly speaking, is not talking about development. You are talking about lawmaking and things associated with that. So why are you going to get road fixed in the place? Why are you going to get turn into Johannesburg and all that? Yes, if we're able to do that, fine. But remember, if you are not, it becomes a deception, and next time you'll be punished. So, but I don't blame our people because a lot of them do not know some of these things. So programs such as this will go a long way to arm them with knowledge, so that when people come to them, they'll be able to pose the right question to them. Are you sure you'll be able to do ABC? Where are you going to get the money from? That all the necessary questions are posed to those people, and you are able to separate facts from propaganda and outright lies. I also touch on the issue of Otoado's issue. You know, he's coming back to the Black Star and all that. I don't have a problem with this, but my concern is that we have tried a lot of coaches from outside this country, and even he being a Ghanaian who's outside this country doing applying his vocation. But it tells you that there's a missing link in this country. Why can't we begin to build capacity from home? Look at talents, sponsor them in and outside this country to get the best of knowledge and experience, and come and handle our team so that we can have a succession plan. But what we are doing is a knee-jerk reaction, and always it brings all manner of problems. And the same thing extends to the Black Star. Sometimes you have to rely on the foreign players. I'm not saying that they are not good, they are. But we should also have a local team. People like Eto, they were built from the academy, they rose through the ranks and all. Yeah. I saw in the 90s, Abedi Pele and Co, who were playing very competitive soccer here before he joined the Dragons of Benin, and then he moved to, France and the rest of it. So let us begin at home by tapping talents. I was a little boy, still back to the issue. They were playing district soccer competition, regional soccer competition, and national. Why have we abandoned all these things? These are processes that will enable you to tap into the talents that we have. Even the universities, the academic house, we have them who were playing very good soccer. These talents are sitting down here and we are not tapping them. Economists will tell you that if you have resources and you don't tap them, it becomes a waste resource.
Let me just blaze through these foreign stories and I'm done. Russia on mission to cause mayhem on UK streets warns MI5. You know, the British, they have MI5, MI6, and Russia's intelligence agency has been on a mission to generate Sustained mayhem on British and European streets, the head of MI5 has said. You can catch more details of that story sourced from the BBC. Then Lebanon kidnapped by Hezbollah, says former Prime Minister. Lebanon has been kidnapped by Hezbollah, but the government isn't doing enough to distance itself from the group, says the country's former Prime Minister. If you listen to the Lebanese who speak, and I have quite a number of Lebanese friends, some of them say, oh, Hezbollah is doing the right thing. Others say, no, Hezbollah, which became very powerful, I think since the 2000s, has kidnapped the country and is taking actions that are not in the interest of the country. So both sides to the discussion. EU to launch WTO challenge against China's brandy squeeze. They implemented an EV ban of sorts, and that has come with repercussions from China, and now the EU is protesting that at the WTO, the World Trade Organization. And German police smashed child sexual abuse site. All those stories in the Daily Guide newspaper. Sweetie?
Yes, let me also just blaze through the news center and the custodian. I want to start from here. The stories you read, in fact, we brought you that this morning from Business Update, the finance minister saying that we are recovering. But GSE has recorded 98.26% decline in trades amid 38.56% T-bill under subscription. What are we talking about? Ghana Stock Exchange. They're saying that investor interest in treasury bills fell significantly in the latest auction, with the government managing to raise only 3.67 billion Ghana cedis, far below the 5.98 billion target. And this led to a substantial 38.56% under subscription rate. And despite this shortfall, all submitted bids for the 90-day, 182-day, and 364-day treasury bills were fully accepted. Where are the monies for us to be investing in treasury bills? And the interest rate is so wild these days, you can barely wrap your head around it. So just something for us to think on. And Ghana records 2 cases of Mpox. So as we speak now, 2, but no deaths recorded yet.
We thank God for that there are no deaths.
Yeah, on the front page though, police recruitment exam set for Saturday. If you're interested, if you're in that category, well, take note of this. It's happening on Saturday. Northern region sees major progress in education, health, roads, and other infrastructure. Ghana Eyes Regional Tech Skills Hub and insurance brokers ensure best terms for insured free of charge. And there are some other stories here. You can pick a copy for yourself. That's the news center. But the custodian, we won't be part of labor strike, GMA has said. And we've got, Benjamin already reflected on that story, and Doc also did same. Zoomlion Nigeria is also here in the news for signing €40 million deal. Congratulations to them. Northern region gets massive government projects. And these are just some stories on the custodian newspaper. Digital Youth Hub ready in December, according to Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, an NPA boss honored at Africa Public Sector Awards. That's all that time will allow me to do. On the ABC, though, Ghana's economy recovering. Yeah, Virgin Atlantic Airlines. I saw that interview, and he said that part of the reason why they've returned to Ghana is because the economy is recovering. Doc, that's it from my side.
I will start with the T-bill recording under subscription.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not surprising to see this because people have suffered haircut. And the reality has dawned on people. So once beating, it's not twice shy, forever shy. So people have taken political notice of it. But it tells you that when we're taking decisions, we need to be very careful because it has all manner of consequence and all that. How do you get people back? And that is the headache for them. It is in their court, those who manage the economy and all the financial instrument to be able to wrap their hand around their minds and to be able to come out with something that will really ginger people to be able to get more revenue in that regard. It is their duty. They should be able to stand and then work for their salaries. Then issue of the Northern region education progressing there. That is heartwarming. That I commend the government and all those stakeholders for the contribution they've made for us to achieve that results. It is my hope and prayer that such achievement can be extended to all nook and cranny of this country so that we can have equal quality education and make sure that we bring our people up to scratch. After all, we should have what equal education and equal opportunity for everybody. That's the spirit behind liberalism. That is what linked with what capitalism.
Thank you so much, Doc. Benjamin, we have to go.
So we're going to 7:20, so we still have some time to play with. The Ghanaian publisher newspaper, Jospon Group signs €40 million deal with German entity, and GMA snubs anti-galamsey strike. Northern region witnesses major strides in education, health, and agriculture. And I believe you've already spoken about that Jospon Group story, and we've also delved into the GMA's backing out of this strike. We never promised to provide register within a week. That's according to the EC. Well, every week, different story and different wahala. But let's get into that story on page 3. So it says, the Electoral Commission has clarified claims by the NDC regarding the timeline for the release of the revised Provisional Voters Register ahead of the 2024 general elections. The EC in a statement clarified that the Commission had never committed to providing the updated register within a week of the Inter-Party Advisory Committee's meeting, contrary to the NDC's assertion. Quote, the chairperson of the EC indicated during the televised IPAC meeting that the Commission would provide the political parties with a revised PVR and upload it online within 2 weeks or earlier. Nowhere in her statement did the chairperson indicate that the revised PVR would be made available within a week, the statement said. It's been over a week since that came to bear, right? So let's wait and see within a fortnight what will happen as far as that is concerned. Sanitation Minister slams politicization of galamsey. You know one interesting thing, Sweetie and Doc, I've been hearing people say things like, and again, this is something I am, keeping to my chest for my blunt thoughts. People talking about, oh, but we don't do galamsey in Accra. We don't do galamsey in Accra. But the political will needed to deal with galamsey starts from here in Accra. And in any case, the plantain, the cassava, the yam that you are consuming in Accra, guess where they come from? So let's keep playing the ostrich. It will catch up with us nicely. Doc, any reflections?
Yeah, I'll start from where you ended. If you think that you are far away from the action spot, then you are deceiving yourself, because there are a whole lot of complex systems that we live in that at each point in time, part of our system rub off with the system and have effect on us. That is what in podcast we call a systems theory. System. There is a system, and any part you touch, it has effect on all the other side. Imagine, imagine you don't have even galamsey in Accra. Nothing happens here. Are you happy that people are dying in galamsey sites and other places? Is that what we are looking at? We give our mandate to government to protect our lives and our property so that we can render obedience to the state. So if the state is, shying away from that responsibility, we have every right to what? Question the state, because we don't want to go back to the state of nature where life, you and I don't want to be there. And that is why people like us, when we are talking the way we talk, because government has the power to do what it's supposed to do. The regulatory capacity of the state must be enforced, that you make rules and you enforce them. If you can't do that, then look, it takes us to a failed state. But I don't want to believe my state want to get there as a failed state. No. So whatever it is possible, we will make sure that the government will force the government to do it using the rules of the game. That's it.
Other stories?
Yeah, I want to just bring this to light. The Ghana Health Service has launched a 5-year national plan.
You're going back to
the daily graphic, yes. I thought it was important, but time. I was rushing through it. The Ghana Health Service has launched a 5-year national plan to guide the country's response to any vaccine-preventable disease outbreak, dubbed Mass Vaccination Plan for VPD Outbreaks. The initiative, which is the country's first general plan for mass immunization outbreaks of VPDs, aims to reduce morbidity, mortality, and disability associated with the PDs through the provision of high-quality immunization services during outbreaks, and it would also improve the coverage of immunization services and timeliness of a national response to these outbreaks. And I think it's a step in the right direction. And for the first time, if we are going to be doing this, we might actually be saving lives. Doc, I don't know what you think about that.
Yes, I think during the COVID time or beyond that time, a committee was put together headed by a professor from Pombuating to think about whether we can develop vaccines and all that, because we've seen examples from Vietnam and all that. That is a hub of vaccines, and they are making a lot of inroads in that area. So it gladdens my heart when I hear news like that. But my prayer is that we will walk the talk and support that body which is supposed to actualize this dream by giving it the necessary resources. Sometimes we say these things and only to to throw some few CDs to the committee to work, and they cannot work with this. If we are damn serious about this, then we must commit ourselves by putting in resources to be able to do this and stop the unnecessary usage of state resources for things that we do not need. And that if we are able to do this, I'm sure we'll be home and dry.
Okay. That's all from my end, Benjamin. So,
well, let me get into the Accra Times now. Free the citizens, Arthur Kobina Kennedy to government, Dr. Arthur Kennedy. Ashimore vows to secure more seats for NDC as he aims to increase the seats to 25. Mahama pledges to restore Ghana. Next NDC government will put Ghana back on her feet. Nalerigu gets 400-ton waste recycling facility, and Zaneto weeps over Galamsey menace. The Accra Times, it appears all your stories are NDC-related stories. That's an interesting one. Anyway, there are other papers that do same, but I think maybe you could have reflected more. There are other stories from other ends. Where do I even start? Let me look for stories that are less political. Okay, I'll start with Arthur Kennedy, yeah? So, the Galamsey problem has finally reached crisis level. The security forces and politicized, our politicized, weaponized judiciary of the president, who pledged to put his presidency on the line to fight Galamsey, are collaborating to silence citizens who are actually fighting Galamsey. The over 50 activists facing prosecution are the wrong defendants. They followed the rules in organizing protests. They are on the side of the people. History is on their side. Well, in terms of, there's a little technicality in terms of their following the rules, because there were some unapproved routes they used. I always want to be fair and balanced on these matters. And he says, and God is true, and so is the Constitution. Article 41K requires citizens to protect and safeguard the environment. How can the police ignore those who are obliterating our forests and turning our rivers into Milo and cocoa drinks and arrest the patriotic protesters? It goes on and on. That's a piece that recently he put out. And to a large extent, I agree with him. How can you be those who are protesting, even if their actions in a way are not the very best? There are but you want to treat them like this when those perpetrating the acts, you know them. Some of you are beneficiaries in government, but you want to keep mum. Well, like I said, we can all pretend, but the day the ravages hit home, they'll hit all of us. No one will be spared. Even those abroad who think they are being spared. You know, a lady was mentioning that she eats yam, from Ghana. She's Ghanaian. She's abroad. And the yam is the same one from here. So even those abroad are getting affected when you go to the African markets and all of that. So everybody will get his or her share. Yeah, to say, oh, maybe I had me free party way. No problem. It will reach everybody. And there's also Mahama pledges to restore Ghana. I think some of these stories we've already got into. I'll just do the headlines here and we're done. The Daily Searchlight, Election 2024. A Mahama victory would amount to a constitutional coup. That's on page 2. And Birim Central MCE refutes allegations. Allen's running mate shakes Central Region with plans for fishing sector. I'm just interested in who is writing this bit about a Mahama victory would amount to a constitutional coup. I don't even see the name here, but anyway, that is the story.
Okay, so we do have to go now, but some dedications coming in and going out to Mr. Ken Trinebua-Kodia, the Vice Chairman of TUC, coming from our producer. Happy birthday to you, sir. May God bless you. And this is a belated birthday message because the birthday was actually yesterday. Thank you so much for joining us for News Review, Dr. Asante. And
welcome.
Yeah. Coming up next is sports.
I wish you a good day.
Thank you, Doc.
I wish you the same, Doc.
Mufta Nabila Abdullah is standing by to serve you sports.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. Ghana had 23 players in a second training session ahead of that March Day 3 AFCON 2025 qualifier against Sudan at the Accra Sports Stadium on Thursday. Otto and his technical team had the arrivals of the likes of Alexander Jiku, as well as the likes of Abdul Rashid and co. to ensure that Ghana had the best of preparations to come up against Sudan on Saturday. Mohamed Salisu was also in camp for that training session. Mohamed Kudus, as well as other teammates, were all available for that training session at the Accra Sports Stadium on Tuesday. Otto will hold a pre-match press conference later today and hold a final training session at 5:30 p.m. at the Accra Sports Stadium. For our Sudan, they will also train at the stadium and they will have their pre-match press conference at 3:30 p.m. before holding their training session at 4 p.m., which is the kickoff time for tomorrow's game. The training sessions of both teams will have 15 minutes open to the media, while the rest of the sessions will be closed. Ghana lost its opening game to Angola and drew against Niger, and they are seeking to be able to get their qualification back on track with a win against Sudan on Thursday. Joy Sports Invitational 2024 is back. It is happening at University of Ghana Stadium on October 26. One of the companies that have signed up to participate in this event is Nationwide Technologies, and my colleague Natalia Atto paid them a visit. There's more in this report.
Wow, amazing stuff here. So there we go. This is, all right, so here we go. Thank you. Wow, this is amazing energy. So I find myself here in the heart of the industrial city of Tema, and I'm in the company of Nationwide Technologies Limited. How are you guys doing? We are good. Oh yeah. amazing stuff there. And so, Nationwide Technologies Limited, as you all know, are making a debut appearance at the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament on October 26th at the University of Ghana Stadium. Well, my mind has been blown already about some of the things I've heard in the background, but let them say it for themselves. So, there's a man here called Rescue. Rescue, is that the name? What is he rescuing all of us from? Come over. How you doing, man? How you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. So your name is Rescue?
Yeah, my name is Rescue.
Okay, so it means that you're going to be performing a very important function on the day.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay. What do you do here?
I'm the service assurance manager. Okay. Yeah. As a business, we are into fuel marking, tank stratification, tank testing. We innovate technologies in the area of fuel additives. Our current product is Sonos. Most of us are in it. I see. Yes, yes. And it's a very interesting product that reduces emission, our carbon footprint. We care a lot about the environment. It reduces your carbon footprint, thereby providing a lot of help to the environment. And the usage of this additive actually ensures that you have some considerable amount of savings on your fuel because it aids in combustion, so your fuel burns to complete combustion is actually completed.
Wow, wow, amazing stuff there. Okay, so, oh yeah, I heard some applause. Okay. Yeah. Look, question is, where is your MD? Where is your MD?
We have concealed him in a very subtle manner. We wish he was here, but we need to hide him somewhere and then unveil him properly when the time is.
What's his name?
Maxwell Nyantechi.
Okay, so Mr. Maxwell Nyantechi, what is No Size his nickname or something? Okay, I see. All right, so Mr. Maxwell Nyantechi is the MD CEO of Nationwide Technologies Limited. I'm told they're hiding him somewhere strategic. Well, you mind to tell us a bit about it, or?
He's the MD.
So what are you doing with him where you're hiding him? What are you doing?
We are conditioning him in the best state possible for the day. I see. He's somewhere just chilling, taking it easy and preparing for the big day.
There is also the ladies 50-meter dash and the ladies, ladies penalty shootout as well, okay? Tell me what the ladies are getting themselves ready for. Are they ready for it? Are they?
I think they are more than. Just raise your hand.
Come. Okay. Ewenam is everybody's favorite, as you can see. Ewenam. So, what makes you the best lady penalty taker? You have 23 other teams to contend with.
Okay. I think it's inbuilt. I see. Self-motivated. I see. So I'm in for it.
All right, so in wrapping up this conversation, we've got over 8 disciplines to participate in. So the men's football competition, the CEO's penalty shootout, the mixed relay, the mixed 4x100 meters relay, the mixed sack race, the mixed, and also the free throw for basketball, and also, many other disciplines. And my question now is, nationwide, how many of these trophies are you taking away? Some say they are taking 4.
It's not negotiable. It's not negotiable. We are taking all.
All right. So you've heard from them, and this is just interesting stuff. Well, I'm going to hand over to them so that they do their final message through their cheering. And remember, all the teams are up for the Team Spirit Award, which means the team that cheers from start to finish. So let's see how all of that goes. I'll hand you over back to them again so that they send their final message to all of you. But let's do the final message. Rescue, what is the final message to everyone? Come over. What's the final message to all the other teams, 23 other teams?
It's rather unfortunate. We are not going to lose to them. We are taking everything. It's simple as that.
Straight. All right, you do know the slogan for this year's Joy Sports Invitational Tournament, right? All right, guys, are you all ready? Yeah. No, I don't think I can hear you. Are you all ready? Yeah. All right, so who are you? You are Nationwide Technologies, right? Yes. Okay, so who are you? Nationwide Technologies. Who are you? Nationwide Technologies. Joy Sports Invitational Tournament 2014. Please. Okay. Let's go.
AIS. Stress.
And if you want to sign up for the Joy Sports Invitational 2024, you can get in touch on 05491269905, or you can also go online on the Major Online website and download the form and sign up. It goes for 3,000 Ghana cedis, and if you sign up, just select the events you want to partake in and submit the form to us, and you are a participant. And if you also want to sponsor, contact the same number, 05491269905, and we'll take you through the processes of sponsoring the event. Now, let's talk Vision FC. They are the debutants in the Ghana Premier League. And one of the things they intend to do is to unite with their community, of which they are representing and playing football at the highest level in the country. They say a core responsibility about them is to give back to society. So over the weekend, they decided to donate to My Hand Clinic in Tema. And my colleague Lawrence Beidou was there and has more in this report.
Vision FC's campaign in the Ghana Premier League has started well with just one defeat after 5 games. The club off the pitch are also ticking all boxes as they commence their community engagement strategies. The visit to the Mahia Polyclinic saw the donation of items such as delivery beds, Sonicade, detergents and air conditioning, as well as payment of hospital bills. The Vision Foundation team stressed the need for clubs to take up such initiatives.
Well, it's important. I mean, if you look at what's happening elsewhere in other countries, I mean the Western countries, you look at best practices. You look at the foreign clubs from Chelsea to United to Arsenal. They have foundations that are helping undertake various interventions within the communities where they exist. Basically, that is what these clubs are doing. And you barely see Ghana Premier League clubs do this. I mean, for Vision FC, we've decided to pioneer this. Not many clubs in Ghana have a foundation. This is a fully or a separate or a distinct foundation that has been set aside in the name of the club to tackle specific issues within the communities that we exist.
Captain of the club, Gideon Oforiofe, is confident their kind gesture could help their season get better.
In and out of the field, we've been doing our best to keep up in shape and hoping we would win. So we came up here to make this donation and to expect the blessings of God to help us win. We feel like luck hasn't been on our side in our past games, and we are expecting that this donation or this little gesture will give us some luck in our coming games.
The clinical coordinator at the maternity unit, Dr. Nana Kunedu Dako, expressed gratitude to the foundation for their efforts.
Now everything we requested has been brought, and we are so grateful to the Vision Foundation and the OWSU project for all that they have done and for bringing the items in support of the maternity unit. We hope that going forward, as they are in the community and we are all here to help the women and the whole community, that we will continue to partner on relevant health needs and issues to the betterment of the whole community of Tema Newtown.
Present at the event were members of the club, the president and executives of the foundation, as well as players and parts of the technical team. Vision FC currently sits 6th on the league table after 5 games, 3 points behind league leaders Asante Kotoko.
That is your sports for now. We do have more sports stories on myjoyonline.com.
Let's begin our stories this morning with our climate focus series. The Pan-African and Transdisciplinary Lens in the Margins, Tackling the Risks of Extreme Events project has begun, aiming to integrate local knowledge and community needs into disaster preparedness and adaptation plans in the White Volta Basin. And the project is engaging stakeholders and communities in 30 areas across 4 regions in northern Ghana to address the impact of floods and droughts on marginalized communities. Mohammed Mahmoud Nuruddin has today's edition of Climate Focus.
Abdallah Saka from Zantani and Idrisu Abubakari Zakari from Wala in the northern region have experienced extreme weather conditions, with Abdallah facing devastating floods and Idrisu struggling with prolonged drought.
As we see in our area, there is a drought because many farmers, our main business is farming.
The only livelihood that we depend on is the farming. And during flooding, all our farm products will be washed away and the farmers and the community members will be suffering.
Abdallah describes the impact as great and unimaginable.
They also suffer to get to hospitals. And at this time, when it is flooding, the whole community will be suffering. No access road that will lead us to the markets where we can sell the remaining farm products that we have. During the flooding hour, the whole community, the whole electoral area will submerge in water, especially during the opening of Bagri Dam. The people there is in hell. I'm telling you, they are in hell. We are not part of Ghanaians.
Ariku Martin Akudugu is my name. 2016 National Best Farmer, first runner-up.
In September and October 2020, floods destroyed his 500 acres of maize and rice field in the Upper East region.
This is my farmland, a little over 500 acres of land that I cultivated maize and rice. The maize were 320 acres. The rice was around 180. We also have mango plantation, as you can see. We lost everything through the floods.
Ariku Martin Akudugu was left devastated at home, wondering how to start all over again. The flood was caused by the Bagri Dam spillage in Burkina Faso and the heavy downpour experienced between September and October 2020.
In fact, the amount of money I invested in this was almost about 450,000 Ghana cedis. And what I was expecting to harvest at the end of the cropping season was around 3,600 bags of maize and 3,200 bags of rice. That would have been what I was expecting to harvest at the end of the season. The amount of money I would have at least as income would have been somewhere around 2.6 million Ghana cedis per the investment I made.
So this is the 3 PhD students from the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science at Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Samuel Owusu and Sir Joshua Asamoah and Alfred Ewua are researching on floods, drought and their impact on livelihoods on residents.
Actually, my research proposal is focused on flooding, and the focus would centers on the marginalized communities within the White Volta Basin. And we have seen that there have been a number of researches that have been carried out, and their focus would either come from the physical science or the social science. But this particular research project is trying to address the impact on the marginalized community, especially those who are very highly vulnerable.
I'm focusing on the assessment of drought impacts on marginalized communities within the White Volta Basin. So basically, we've seen lots of research on flood within the White Volta Basin, how the spillage of the Bagri Dam causes flood issues in the northern portions of Ghana. But most of the time, we leave out the impact of drought within this same area. So my project seeks to fill this gap by contributing to knowledge on drought within the Whitewater Basin, where we assess and quantify drought intensity, severity, frequency, duration, and also identify some drivers of drought within the area.
Now this project is so important because having looked at the physical and social drivers that bring about the climate change, what is the impact or the effect on the people in the catchment area? We all know that most of the people in the catchment area are engaging in agricultural activities. And we know that when there is a flood or a drought in agriculture catchment area, most of their produce are lost. Now those people, they have only one mean of livelihood. That is mostly the agric or the farming.
Since most of the population within the Volta Basin relies on agriculture, extreme weather events like floods and droughts resulting in significant crop losses impacting their primary source of income. Samuel, Joshua and Alfred's works seek to build resilience among these communities as they are highly vulnerable to the impacts of climate-related disasters and have limited livelihood options.
So we need to build a resilience for these people. We need to make sure we come out with adaptation strategy so that in the near future they can survive the climate extreme that is happening globally, and for that matter Ghana, and for that matter the White Basin as a catchment.
So we are aiming at trying to build their resistance to be able to thrive this changing climate within the Whitewater Basin.
So a project that was done by WMO through funding from Adaptation Fund, which is called the Water, Flood and Drought Management Project, is indicating that in the current climate we are getting about 20,000 to 50,000 animals which are affected by drought every year. And if you consider crop yield too, we are seeing about 5 to about 7% reduction in crop yield as a result of drought. But this information was gathered over the entire basin area, and the subdivisions that you get is for the regions. You are not able to tell that this community is affected this much, or this is how much flood or drought affects these particular areas within the community. So this research is trying to bring it down to the communities to assess drought impact for each community, and also assess the drought impact on livelihood and different gender groups within these communities. So we want to understand the differential impact of drought within the communities for the Whitewater Basin.
Why did we coin this acronym or the name of the project palm tree? I hope we all know what a palm tree is.
One of the leading researchers, Professor Thompson Ano at the Department of Meteorology and Climate Science, leads the research using a multi-method approach to create risk narratives and improve climate modeling. The methods combine existing demographic and health surveys with new data from participatory analysis, mapping, focus group, and multi-level modeling.
We are talking about the people that are most vulnerable. So these are the people that we are targeting. And then looking at how they are impacted by flood and then drought, we will put certain adaptation strategies in place so that it will build their resilience.
He knows that current interventions for drought and flood-affected communities are often short-term and inadequate, providing temporary relief but failing to address the underlying issues which persist long after the initial support has ended.
Most of the time when there is flood or there is drought, some of the interventions that they receive are short-lived. Within a few months, few years they are gone. And when it comes again, then it comes to the same issue. This time we want to build their capacity so that they can cope with it and then sustain it so that their livelihood will be better.
Professor Arno stresses the need for community cooperation, collaboration and sharing of experience throughout the project to guarantee the development of effective solutions and interventions that foster resilience and benefit the communities themselves.
Our expectation from them is one, their cooperation. Their cooperation and also to give us the ground truth. So we will go to them, go to households and then ask some questions. All that we expect from them is to give us exactly what has happened or what they think is happening. So we want their utmost cooperation. After we have finished, we also want them to utilize whatever we will do for them to better their lives. Look at the compound effect. So flood, heat wave, droughts are devastating in Africa, and climate change may fuel or increase their impact in the future.
A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
There are groups of people who are consistent.
And that's that for our latest edition of Climate Focus. But remember, Ghana, that the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank is underway. Syntex is giving 15 communities free water. And this is to say thank you, Ghana, for making us the #1. Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Do you know that Syntex also come in so many colors and was also the first to come out with inner white layer? So when it's not Syntex, forget about it. Now, if you're a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log into their social media handles, Syntex Ghana, and nominate your community. The more you nominate, the better chances you have of getting Syntex tank in your community. Remember, it's Syntex, S-I-N-T-E-X, Syntex tank. Not be any tank be tank. The correct tank be Syntex tank. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough. We take a quick break. We'll return with our big stories. Stay tuned.
Welcome back as we veer into our big stories. And starting off, government is racing against time to avert a shutdown of the country as organized labor insists their measures are not sufficient enough to pull the brakes on the planned nationwide strike due in less than 48 hours. This is despite a setback suffered by the announcement of the Ghana Medical Association that it was excluding itself from this mass labor action intended to force the hand of government to declare a state of emergency because of illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. We'll be discussing those issues with our guests, but first off, let's listen to the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Mr. Jinapor, on what he had to say in terms of dealing with the menace.
In the circumstances, this move was one which will not be detrimental to our efforts at regulating small-scale mining. So essentially, that's what it is. The decision has been taken to revoke LI 2462. The fight against illegal mining has been ongoing under this government for the past 7 years. Excuse me, I would say that no government has fought this menace as much as Akufo-Addo's government has done. Indeed, we all know that illegal small-scale mining has been with us for many years. And when the president gave his inaugural address on 7th January 2017, a greater part of his speech focused on the issue of illegal small-scale mining. That definitely presupposes that illegal small-scale mining was a major problem at the time he took the oath of office on 7th January 2017. For about 6 months or so ago, we took the decision that we need to roll out a policy of river guards. In other words, we need to have a dedicated cohort of people, a dedicated personnel, group of people, personnel, who will patrol and monitor our river bodies 24/7. And so we began a collaboration with the Ghana Navy, where we procured 5 speedboats and began a very rigorous recruitment process or exercise, which resulted in the recruitment of some 300 young men and women. They were trained extensively in how to pilot these boats, in how to have body cams, and how to use drones, and so many other components of this policy have now been put together. And we are just on the verge of deploying these river guards. As I speak to you, a meeting is scheduled at the Ministry of Defense today at 12 o'clock to cross the T's and dot the I's in respect of this issue of river guard. And we think that the deployment of this river guard will really go a great length at helping us monitor the river bodies 24/7, as it were. And this has been work in progress. This is not something that has just come up. This is something that we sought approval from the central government some 6 or 8 months ago. I don't have the exact date with me now. But we've been working very hard at this and ensuring that we screen all the recruits, all the personnel who applied to join this river guard efforts. And they were taken through security training, screening. They were recruited, they were trained, we got the equipment, we put the policy and the operational manual, everything together. We are now meeting, as I say, to just smoothing the rough edges. And sooner rather than later, we will have them deployed on the major river bodies of our country, for them to police the river bodies, for them to monitor the river bodies, and for them to be able to communicate as quickly as they find any illegal mining activity taking place on the river bodies of our country. As you may have read from the newspapers as well, the periodic surgical operation by the Ghana Armed Forces under the rubric of Operation HALT is been evaluated again, it's been examined, and the decision has been taken that we're going to have surgical operations as we've done in the past. So the point I'm making is that, look, this government's commitment to the fight against illegal small-scale mining has been unfettered. And I think the government has been absolutely transparent, honest, and resolute when it comes to this fight. Look, let's be clear that there are challenges. There's no two ways about that because of the complexity of this matter and because of the common denominator when it comes to small-scale mining or when it comes to mining generally, which is really gold and money. And therefore, people will want to persist, and the cabals will want to outwit the system, and they want to persevere. But we are also absolutely resolute and determined, and we're not going to give up on this fight. We're going to get on with it. And as I say, these measures which we have worked on over the period are also going to be rolled out, and we believe that they will make a positive impact.
Well, there you have it, the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Mr. Jinapor, making the point there that it's not a knee-jerk reaction. All of these were in motion, and they are crystallizing at this point. We have a host of guests who will be joining us, but for now, we shall start with Professor Kwesi Enning. He is a security analyst. He is also one who provides bespoke services in risk assessment, analysis, and forecasting. Prof, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
It's a pleasure having you. Every time, it's a great pleasure. Let me just start from this standpoint. What do you make of the charge from both fronts, from Labour and from government? You've heard the Lands and Natural Resources Minister. What do you make of the reactions from both ends so far?
Look, we have an existential crisis on our hands. And listening to the minister right now, I simply got sad that there is no commitment nor seriousness to this. What the minister is saying are all reactive statements because he knows that the National Security Strategy document is very clear about levels of coordination amongst statutory institutions and their capacity to do early warning and to prevent, quote, to unify and protect this country. He also knows that the Security and Intelligence Services Act, Act 1030 of 2020, enjoins every single metropolitan, municipal, district council, security councils, protect the state. We have a Signals Act, also from 2020, that must coordinate and share information quickly. Where has the minister been? And this morning he's telling us about drones, speedboats, 300 people being trained. There is a certain lack of seriousness about how the extent of this problem first is understood, the willingness to take the extraordinary political measures beyond the realm of the normal to be able to deal with this.
Quick intervention. So you're saying that apart from not having the political will to do this, perhaps our leaders don't even understand the problem well enough. Is that what you're saying?
They just don't care well enough, because it ought not to have reached the stage in which it's become a canker. But the notion of a state of emergency is normally declared by a government that thinks it needs extraordinary measures to do so. In the Ghana case, we are seeing an inverse process in which organized labor and ordinary citizens are saying government is not up to speed with the character and nature of the crisis that this nation is facing with respect to the environment and the poisons that are being pumped into our rivers, underground water, and into the air. So as citizens, we are demanding that the government declares a state of emergency. Now, Mr. Jinapor is on record that he's against this declaration. And this morning, he talks about cabals. Cabals don't issue licenses. Cabals don't just get up from either outside one's country and enter somebody's sovereign territory to do what is taking place. So if he knows there are cabals, why has it taken him so long to act? So there is a certain lack of seriousness, and one gets this impression that, look, let's fob them off with basics, some petty things to calm them down. But this goes beyond just politics. This needs something more than ordinary politics to bring us back from the brink. So what organized labor and citizens are demanding is a reflection of the dereliction of duty by government in terms of this particular fight. It's government that declares state of emergency and not the citizenry that demands that government declare so.
Before we bring in Professor Titus Bayo, my colleague Sweetie Abachu will be bringing him into the conversation to get his take. I just want to find out from you, Professor Enning. So where we are currently on this matter, Labour is threatening to down its tools. But the state of emergency that has been called for by many, including you, what are the impediments getting there? Some have said that, look, Galamsey is not done in Accra, for example. You can't sit in Accra and do this. Go into those areas and demonstrate. Some have said that it should be localized. It shouldn't be general. What are the impediments to such an act, and what could be the security concerns if we don't do that? Just quick thoughts on that.
Yes, I mean, the impediments are not about where the demonstrations take place. The impediments mainly is that the elite consensus that must come round to declare this state of emergency does not exist in Ghana. And if I want to use the minister's words, there are multiple interest groups and what he calls cabals who are splitting the front for what ought to be a national decision and agreement that the levels of environmental degradation are posing an existential threat to this country. And that we need some extraordinary measures to pull back from the brink. So where the demonstrations take place do not matter. We need an agreement and a consensus that will reach an extent where something must be done.
Something must be
done.
But
I assure you that this thing is nothing is going because there is no agreement around it. They think, or government thinks that, well, we will keep on talking and people will forget about this. Organized labor's front is beginning to split. The GMA boss is being criticized and all sorts of things. So my assessment right now is that even if there's a shutdown on the 10th, the licenses will continue issued, the mining will continue to go on, and we will continue to suffer.
We will continue to suffer. From where you said nothing is going to happen. Let me, Professor Bayu, a very good morning to you.
Good morning to your viewers.
Just hold for me. My colleague Sweetie Abochi will be running certain questions by you shortly. But I just want to bring in a Ministry of Information statement that has been released so we can just take a swipe at it. It says press release. It's dated October the 9th, 2024. Government takes further action to tackle illegal mining. And it has 4 points. It says government is in continued efforts to clamp down on the long-standing menace of illegal small-scale mining. It has concluded operational measures to intensify the ongoing Operation Halt, which is led by the Ghana Armed Forces, to rid our river bodies of all forms of mining activities. This phase of the operation will be done in conjunction with the Small-Scale Miners Association of Ghana. Government reasserts that river bodies and forest reserves remain red zones. At the same time that, of course, we have LI 2462 that allows people to mine in forest areas, though that has not been, taken care of by Parliament yet. And government reiterates its commitment to the fight against illegal small-scale mining and calls on all stakeholders to join the fight. Before I come back to you on that, Professor Enning, let's bring in Professor Bayu.
Professor Titus Bayu, thank you for joining us on the AM show. There's a lot happening at the GMA. In fact, they were the very first people, one of the first people to paint the picture of the gravity of the situation, the devastating effects of illegal mining activities on our water bodies. And now that organized labor is escalating the fight to cause governments to take immediate action, it seems that not all are in agreement. What do you make of the tension brewing within the GMA in this fight against illegal mining? And you first, let's start from there. What do you make of the entire situation? Professor Titus Bayu.
Yeah, hello. Thank you for having me, and thank you for the question. I would say that it is a rather disturbing trend. In my years of work as Deputy General Secretary, later General Secretary of the Association, and in fact as a Divisional Secretary of the Association as well for the Greater Accra Division, I found it very disturbing what is happening now. For instance, the way through which the decision was made by the President and Council is disturbing. It looks irregular. Council would normally have an in-person meeting or a virtual meeting to take such drastic decisions, and where necessary in the past, to call even emergency General Assembly meeting to discuss that matter. It doesn't sound regular that one will make phone calls to individual council members to make a decision. But I think that is, I don't know that's how council now works. But while I was there, that was not how such decisions were taken. Now, the other part that is disturbing is that, as you have mentioned, it seeks to conflict the initial position of the association. And who else but GMA should be more concerned about the health impact of galamsey? the GMA, one of our highest programs is our annual general conference. And we have dedicated one full session of this to the devastating effects of the galamsey. And so for it to gain that prominence that the entire year our conference discussed it meant a lot to the association. And if you look at it, the GMA together with other health sector unions initiated the process that organized labor and the rest joined on to subsequently make these demands, because the health sector unions first issued a statement. So I'm not too sure, because I'm no longer a council member. I'm still a member of the association, so I cannot speak for the association, I cannot speak for council, but I can say that the trend is disturbing, and the modus operandi looks irregular to me from afar. But I'm sure the association can best explain why and how that happened.
But is there a reasonable chance, Professor Titus Bale, that this decision is coming because the job of medical professionals, doctors, is to save life, and if you lay down your tools tomorrow, 10th of October, you may actually end up losing lives? Is there a reasonable chance that this is the reason, or part of the reason, why the GMA is saying that they will not be laying down their tools tomorrow?
It could be, but in the past, what the association has done is that taking cognizance of the fact that we are essential service providers in solidarity with the rest of labor, we could, for instance, do a target approach. They could express their solidarity to labor, decide that doctors should wear red armbands initially as protestation. They can decide that if nothing happens at some point, they will withdraw some non-essential services and make a graded thing, but to completely say we will not be part of it, that it sounds irregular, because the purpose of all of this really is to mount pressure on government to do the needful. So the question one asks is that does GMA believe that the demands of organized labor are genuine? And if so, do they believe that they need to put pressure on government to do the needful? If yes, then the discussion should not be that you will not be part of it, but you can use milder forms of protection to put pressure on government. So
Prof, well, there's a school of thought that we've moved past a milder option like removing non-essential workers because of the, the gravity of the situation. Would you agree?
Well, no, I don't agree fully with that. We want to preserve life. We want to the best of our ability, preserve life. So the association could have given a staggered approach if they wanted. So if they decided that, even deciding that you are going to withdraw outpatient services and still see emergencies and inpatient, it's enough pressure on government. Or deciding that, look, okay, we are going to use red armbands to warn government for a week or two. That is enough to put pressure on government to do the needful. What is happening is that, why I say it's a very disturbing trend, for me as a unionist who has been in union politics most of my adult life, this is very disturbing. It looks like the labor front is getting fractured or broken, and that sets a very bad precedent for the entire country, because if people cannot demonstrate to push and get what they want, other form of protestation does not appear to yield the result, the last resort then becomes labor. And we saw what happened to the hotel saga. People did all that, and government called their bluff. But when labor stood united, the right thing was done. And so for such an essential national cause, I expected a united voice from labor and complete depoliticization of this. Life is not politicized. And so I think that we should have all had one. When you look at the cause, then this is my personal opinion. If you say you are calling for a state of emergency, is it wrong? It's not wrong. Why? Because under state of emergency, some rights, it actually helps the government. If government decides that it wants to ban small-scale mining for 6 months now, people can take government to court because the same government gave them the license.
Okay,
but give them the license. But if it was such that it was under a state of emergency, such rights can be curtailed. So you cannot take government to court for withholding a license they have granted you because we are operating under a state of emergency. This is my understanding of it. So it is something that would rather help government. And we are saying give the land some period to heal. And let's reorganize ourselves. I do not see what is wrong with such a call. So it's a disturbing trend in the labor front, and I'm saddened by it.
Okay, so briefly before Ben goes back to Professor Enin, would you say that there are any political elements at play here? From your experience as a former General Secretary of the GMA, would you say that there may be any political elements at play here?
That would be speculative and further weakening labor. I want to believe that there isn't anything like that, but if there is, then it's very unfortunate. And I think labor must stand for what they stand for and not be influenced by politics.
Prof, I just have a quick 3 layers of questions for you briefly, but straight to the point. One, the fact being that the GMA is saying they are in solidarity with the rest of labor, but they will simply not join them for the demonstration. As for the bit about lives, when I listened to Dr. Asante, I didn't hear too much of that. What I heard was process about the fact that they had not been informed and all of that. Some say this is a hypocritical positioning because they even started bringing up these issues about health concerns and all of that. That is one. Two, there have been accusations of bribery on both ends, that maybe some in organized labor have been bribed, that is those who are for, and that others who are now against may have been bribed or compromised as well. What is your thinking on all of this?
Well, so the first point, I would pretty much agree that the situation appears conflicting, as I mentioned, because the GMA is very concerned about the health impact of galamsey, and I can attest to that. On all our doctor platforms, very senior doctors have discussed this.
Hello, Prof.
Yes, and they all think that it's unacceptable. And the GMA itself organized a public lecture on this. So it means that the GMA really thinks that the health impact of this is bad. So, and the GMA and the health sector unions initiated it. So I see it as backtracking, leading people on, and when it matters most, you backtrack. That is why that statement of solidarity and yet saying you will not participate in any form is incongruous.
All right.
The second bit about bribery, these are allegations that need to be proven. But in my years of service at the GMA, that I know it's an organization that was very difficult to bribe. I don't think for the GMA such a thing should have been possible, especially if the council is properly constituted. It's a 22-member council, and each one represents a constituency. And when they sit there to vote, you cannot, I mean, could you possibly bribe all 22 members? No. What is irregular for me is calling people one by one to say you are taking their views on such an important matter.
Right.
That's one I haven't seen it happen in my years at the association. Yeah.
Just give me a quick answer. So were you disappointed by the positioning of Dr. Asante?
Well, I will not personalize it to him, but I was disappointed in seeing such a release coming from the GMA. As a doctor, first, as one also concerned about the health impact, second, and by the fact that I'm also a member of the GMA and a former General Secretary of the GMA, I was disappointed seeing this from the GMA.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for those thoughts. Don't take leave of us yet, but let me go to Professor Ening. Professor Ening, Professor Bayuo says he was disappointed. We've already looked at that statement, the statement from the Ministry of Information. I went through it. I don't know whether you'd like me to go over it or whether you remember and you would like to react to it. I see a comment here. Atipo Bright says, this strike is not about allowances and emoluments. I understand the GMA. He's being sarcastic, saying that once it's not about money, he understands the GMA. Your reflections on that, Professor Ening?
No, I mean, look, I think we need to understand all these statements and establishment of groups and meetings are simply to buy time, because for those who ought to decide, there is no sense of urgency. There is a misunderstanding of the dangerous nature of the threat that we are facing and its impact on our survival as a nation. So this statement from the 9th of October for me means absolutely nothing. It's just empty words, continued efforts, operational efforts of HALT. There have been loads of analysis on the effectiveness or otherwise of HALT, that they will collaborate with small-scale miners, red zones. If you knew that river bodies and forests were red zones, why issue the licenses? You are still issuing. So there is a
but government is willing to go back to Parliament and, you know, deal with LI 2462. Is that not a step in the right direction?
No, because by promulgating that LI in the first place, our national interests were not taken into consideration as to what could be the unintended negative impacts of issuing these licenses because of this LI. When you are in positions of influence, but also particularly when you are a duty bearer, in which you are holding a nation's survival in trust, decisions must be made carefully, maturely, and in an informed manner. Question: how many licenses have been issued since this LI came into place?
Right.
If we are going to use those measures and we are willing to go back to Parliament, and we know it is a process, we don't wake up at 10 a.m. and say we are going to Parliament. What are they going to do about the licenses that have been issued already? So for me, this is a play on words, procedures, mechanisms, and processes, basically to buy time. But I can offer a word. When people feel threatened to an extent where they lose trust in those who ought to protect them, then they take the law and the decisions into their own hands. And we're already beginning to see in a few communities where the youth are beginning to clash with minors. The guns are available. The explosives are, and the ammo available. Let's not take communities and individuals into taking the law into their own hands. I think those who have been voted for to make the tough decisions must demonstrate they are up to the task. They should stop this pussyfooting with statements, committees, meetings, and be seen to be acting in the interest of the enterprise called Ghana.
I have two quick follow-ups for you, and I will be done on that front. So one, the lands minister talks about river guards, the Navy, all being deployed on some of these water bodies. Then there's the use of drones, and it takes my mind back to the $3 million we supposedly spent on 200 drones, which cannot be found. What is your reaction to that? Enough to at least cause illegal mining to subside? And then the second bit, I asked you initially about a state of emergency and the elements. Would you like to walk us through them again, about what the likely elements are of a state of emergency and whether we should, at this point, get there?
We ought to have declared one long ago, but it will not happen. Nobody is going to declare a state of emergency, though it is necessary, because there is no consensus about the extent of the threat and the urgency of the threat. Therein lies the minister's explanations about drones and 300 people being trained and 3 boats. All that the minister told us is that the extent of the problem is like an elephant. Our responses are like 2 flies on the back of an elephant that can be just swatted away. So there will be no state of emergency, because for those who ought to declare it, it is not organized labor and civil society that declares a state of emergency. State of emergencies are declared by governments after they have made an assessment that says there is a particular problem that we need to tackle using extraordinary political measures, because if we don't, it will threaten us existentially.
Professor Enin, in terms of, let me quickly interject, in terms of actionable steps, what do these look like? What do these steps that the government should be taking, in terms of declaring a state of emergency? Although you say it would never happen, what does it look like? Does it mean that complete ban on all small-scale mining everywhere? Can you paint the picture for us?
Well, first and foremost is that because every day that passes by is a problem, first there must be a temporary halt, complete ban. That says, look, across this country, legal license, illegal actions, stop. The military and the statutory uniformed forces are empowered by Act 1030 to then ensure that there is enforcement. MMDCs are empowered. The state has all the institutional frameworks to get this done. The Signals Act allows us to share the information very quickly for the Air Force to do reconnaissance and these lost and found drones to monitor. Okay, so there are very simple, straightforward steps that can be taken. And then we can sit back and say, how do we begin the process of allowing people to go back? After 6 months, we see the water is healing, is beginning to clear. Then we can say, look, what are the next 6 steps? So there are fairly hierarchical steps that can and must be taken. Unfortunately, they will not be taken.
You're very confident that it will not be taken. Meanwhile, organized labor is set to lay down their tools tomorrow. Is that not?
Yes,
is that something that could actually
force? That is
not a
state of emergency.
But could it force the hands of government to actually take at least one of these actionable steps that you've just laid out?
I doubt very much.
Where does that leave us then, Prof?
It pushes us to the very tip. We will continue to get sick, and I think Professor Bayo has stated it. More children will be born sick. Our food chain will be destroyed. Our cash crops will be destroyed. Our exports will be affected. Already OECD and ECOWAS are watching what is happening on the environmental side in Ghana. But nothing may happen now, but probably sometime next year, those who are environmental lawyers can then take those who refused to act to an international court, because under the Financial Action Task Force Recommendation 40, revised in 2012, environmental crimes are punishable under international law. So,
Prof, should we be looking to the international community to salvage the situation if our own actions internally cannot help us? Is that an option we should explore?
That's an option we should explore, but I've also been encouraging environmental lawyers in Ghana to begin to put together the dossier that can be presented in terms. But I think we need to take the first step.
Okay, please hold for me. Let me go back to Professor Titus Bayo. Prof, so as we speak, we've seen some teacher unions put this decision whether or not to join the nationwide strike to a vote. Is that something that GMA should also be doing or would be doing?
Well, as I said, I can't speak for the GMA. I am part of UTAG as well, and we participated in the vote in Legon, and we've made our decision clear where we stand. The GMA technically does not vote this in that manner because we are not like separate groups that have come together. So the mode of operation would have been either the council voting on behalf of the entire GMA, or the GMA call an extraordinary general assembly, emergency general assembly meeting. And in that meeting, we vote on it. This is the mechanism that are known to take very major decisions in the GMA. The council is well empowered to do that. Or they call an extraordinary general assembly to take that decision.
Okay, so the results that we've seen so far in terms of the teacher unions that went to the polls to vote on whether or not to join that industrial action tomorrow, it appears the yeses have it. What does that tell us? What does that tell you? You're also a teacher, yeah. What does that tell us?
No, I think it is a reflection of what Ghanaians feel. It's a reflection of what everybody that has a voice feel. And I think it is a direction to duty bearers that the people you represent, the people you lead, this is what they feel about it. So it's not a matter of who will lose a seat. It's not a matter of who will win an election. And remember, the unions are also demanding that both political parties sign a pact that it's a very strong statement against this menace, which I think is an attempt to make sure that they have bipartisan or multi-partisan approach to this thing. So we should not use a divide and rule tactic. This is a genuine concern. It is scary and it's an existential challenge to all of us. And for a few greedy people to look at what they will gain and jeopardize the future of all of us is unacceptable. And if you look at the measures put up by government, I don't think they are satisfactory at all. And I think the unions were actually helping government by asking to declare a state of emergency. I'm not a lawyer, but under a state of emergency, certain rights can be curtailed, which means that government will not be forced, will not face legal suit by people that you cancelled my license or have a license and you've done this. No. All of that can be catered for if a state of emergency is declared. And that is when we see a will, commitment to fight this. In the absence of that, it is all semantics, it's all playing with it, it's all making the people feel good that we are doing something. I mean, if you say you are training river guards, for heaven's sake, if the military could not stop this, it's river guards that are going to stop it. Haven't we seen where soldiers are going here, they'll call the people to leave there. If the person who is supposed to take the decision, the head of the security council in that municipality himself owns a concession, and they are coming towards this concession, you only tell them not to appear at work today. Can that decision be made without that person? It's the reason why we are saying get a complete ban. Let us have some respite. It doesn't matter whose firm is there, politically exposed or not. Let's give the earth a respite. And don't come and play with these words, because the honest truth, and I think everybody that has a voice must speak up, because we speak up or we die together. We shouldn't think it's affecting some people. I'm a scientist, and if you look at what we are consuming, it's scary, and how long it's going to take us to get things back to normal is scary. So I think each passing day, the situation gets worse for us and for future generations.
Okay. I'll come back to you for your final thought. Let me go back to Professor Ini. First, I saw you, was it chuckling or so? You have a response to that, and then you can give me a wrap of your thoughts as we conclude.
No, I think my brother has said everything.
Okay.
He used the word semantics. Look,
okay.
I just want to be very diplomatic this morning, but the minister's words don't mean anything. We have statutory uniformed forces, probably close to about 30,000 if you take all of them together. And the Operation What they didn't deliver. And you are telling the people of Ghana that 300 river guards, we don't know the state of those boats. Most of the drones have been reported lost. So it is purely a play on words, hoping that the crisis will blow over. Organized labor and civil society will go to sleep and it will be business as usual. But I can assure people that it cannot and must not be business as usual. We are facing a threat, the likes of which very few countries are facing. We are the only country that out of greed have voluntarily poisoned our waters without going to war. And I think the chickens are coming home to roost in terms of impact on the food chain, on the babies being born, and a general sense of mistrust and increasingly disrespect for those who ought to govern. When publics lose trust and respect for their leaders, then the elements that bind are no more in existence. And the ability to cohere around the state crumbles. We need to prevent ourselves from getting to that tipping point. But we are very close to it, and it is increasingly becoming dangerous by now.
Thank you so much, Professor Kwesi Enin. He's a security consultant. Thank you for joining us for breakfast. Professor Titus Bayo, you have the last word.
Well, I think I would just say that it's as though we have agreed to press a self-destruct button as a country, and increasingly it's as though we have become helpless as people. There are people who are concerned at home but do not have a voice. The media is doing its bit by waging this war, but no one is listening. Labour must know that under the kind of dispensation we have, they are the last hope of the nation. They are the last hope of this nation, because protesters are arrested, mishandled, people are not given the permit to even protest, and the protest leads to nothing. And the only voice left standing is Labour. They are the only people that everybody can rely on. So I want to call on the conscience of everybody in Labour leadership that remember, it is not about you. It's not about what you get. It's not about how you feel. It's about the fact that a country has decided to poison its food, its water, its air, and we are going to be dying from all sorts of diseases now and in the future. So what decisions do you want to take to allow the political elite, the few greedy people, to mess us around and continue to issue licenses and come and talk to us in nice words, or stand up for the people at least for once? And this should go to the conscience of Labour. And everybody who is taking a decision on this and looking at party colors, it's unfortunate. We should have a few things that we can rally around as a nation, and that should be the voice of political coloration. And I think one of them is this threat that we all pose, that we all face. And so we should take away party colors and focus on the nation. Thank you.
Professor Titus Bayo is former General Secretary of the GMA. Thank you so much for your time on the AM show. What would it really take for us to put an end to the devastating effects, to galamsey and its devastating effects on our water bodies and forest reserves? It's a question on my mind and the mind of many people in this country. Hopefully, Labour can actually get us some results where the demonstrations and, the calls and the statements failed. Coming up next, we are bringing you AM Business. The Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry has identified taxes on equipment imported for the use of construction projects as a threat to their operations. The Chamber is of the view that these taxes are a disincentive for private companies who wish to expand. Here is more on AM Business.
The pace of expansion in Ghana's construction industry has been relatively slow in recent quarters, reflecting subdued investor and consumer confidence amid rising inflation, currency fluctuation, and disruption in merchandise trade. The Global Market Research in 2021 said the industry was expected to register marginal growth in 2022 as a whole of just 0.9% in real terms, down from 5.7% in 2021. Growth is expected to pick up steadily in 2023 to 2.3% and then accelerate to an annual average of 5.3% between 2024 and 2026. But players within this sector say the growth projected by the Global Market Research may not be achieved with government introduction of the new free taxes, especially the growth and sustainability tax.
If we talk about the tax introductions in the country and its effects to we the industry players, in as much as the manufacturing sector is also being suffocated or being choked with tax been passed, the same applies to us as well, because as a construction industry players, we deal directly with the manufacturing sector and then the financial institutions as well. So anything that affects them affects us adversely. So immediately there is introduction of new taxes in the industry, automatically our businesses are also affected one way or the other. Because for instance, if you should go and bid for a project possibly last year, that you are on site, that's supposed to have been taking 2 years to do. Now, with the introduction of a new tax, automatically the goods and services within the industry will definitely rise. So if that happens, it will affect the build-up of the rate that you have in the your contract document. So if you are not very careful, care is not taken, you may finish the work, but you run at a loss. So that's the reason why most of the times you see that most construction project doesn't see the completions, because the prices of the goods in the market has skyrocketed, and then the contractor cannot match it with the existence. So therefore, he needs to go for renegotiation. So if the client is not ready to at least adjust to that upwards increase, definitely the contractor may walk out of sight, because he wants also to break an even, not to run a loss at a go. So definitely, as we speak now, any tax introduction in the market affects us, especially the exchange rates, the how do you call it, the import duty, the freight, all those things. For instance, today we are witnessing the launch of a new product of CMAF. It's a good product that has been introduced to the market, but the question is, if they are clearing the freight, the import duties and what have you, all those things, they slap it on the product, it makes the price also a little higher. And we, the contractors, we normally go and purchase these items. So that tells you that the prices of our product, that is the construction works, automatically also increases. So we are hand in hand, just like egg and chicken affairs. So anything that affects the manufacturing sector, it affects construction industry as well. Anything that affects the financial sector affects the construction industry as well. So that's our challenge now.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the construction industry's value add fell by 1.1% year-on-year in the first 2 quarters of 2022, falling from 6.8 billion Ghana cedis in January to June 2021 to 6.7 billion Ghana cedis in January and June 2022.
Clear that professional engineering practitioners should be used in all construction projects and the like in this country. We at the engineering institution, the Ghana Institution of Engineering, we are determined that the practice of engineering in this country should be held high. The standards of practice should be held high. We want to discourage this kind of practice and ensure that everybody goes by the law. So we want this to take the full course. We want to get the law to run the full course and get to the root cause of the issue, so that these things will not be recurring in future. Well, the law is clear on that, so I will not talk about that for now, but our interest is to make sure that this incident doesn't happen again. You know, construction projects, concrete buildings, 3-story high, it's not rocket science. And if you use the right professionals, you use the right materials, and you employ the right kind of supervision and design, you shouldn't be having problems like this.
In 2020, the real estate sector, which is a component of the Chamber of Construction and Industry in Ghana, contributed around 1.6 billion Ghanaian cedis, roughly $260.3 million to the country's gross domestic product. This was an increase from the preceding year, when approximately 1.4 billion Ghana cedis, roughly $230.2 million were registered. Except a few decreases visible within the period observed, the real estate sector followed a rising trend in terms of GDP contribution.
So GDP from the construction sector in Ghana decreased to 3049.46 million in the fourth quarter of 2022 from $3249.13 million in the third quarter of 2022. That's according to a data by the Ghana Statistical Service. In 2021, infrastructure construction was the largest sector in Ghana, with commercial, industrial, residential, and others. 2 years ago, the construction in market size was valued at $13.2 billion in 2021. This is expected to achieve an average annual growth rate of more than 4%.
That's why Casa Bazaar, we have chipped in to help and do that job.
Chief Executive Officer for the Ghana Chamber of Construction and Industry, Emmanuel Cherry, says most of their operations have been grind to a halt due to the numerous taxes imposed by the government.
You see, we can easily reduce importations of building materials, which place almost 82% of the building materials we have in the country here. That has monopoly over the construction industry entirely. So what must you do? We need to at least look inwards by adding value to the raw materials that we have here. But the challenge we are having as an industry, most of the times you realize that the consumers here themselves, they complain that the locally manufactured products are higher than that of foreign the imported ones into the market. Why should it be so? Because of the tax, utilities as well. So after the manufacturing within the country, you compare to that of the imported ones, you realize that the market here, the locally produced one is quite a little higher than that of imported one. So most of the times, out of preference, they go for the foreign one, leaving the local manufactured one, and which is also affecting the local industry. So without that, it will be a little difficult. So government must look within to see what exactly it can do to give tax waiver to the local manufacturing companies. Let the companies at least receive some incentives so that they can produce for us to be able to buy. If not so, we'll have the companies, the manufacturing sector well established, one district, one factory, which is laudable. But after production, what next? Who purchases them?
However, players in the real estate sector are also bemoaning the high interest on lending rates by some local banks. According to the president of Kasab Bazaar Building and Construction firm, John William Adele, these local banks should be cushioned by the government to support the sector.
Surely there is still some challenges to face, cost of the materials, cost of the labor and other things are there, but we still going forward little by little. We are lucky to have a very different business model. Ours, we don't build house to sell. We don't work to get the land. You have your land. So when we are working, we know who the customer is.
Everywhere that the factories are being situated, definitely the factories are going to employ the local, the communities, and then other experts, and then the associated graduates that are supposed to man those particular industry. But the industries are not producing, they are not breaking even, they'll fold up. If they fold up, unemployment will increase, and that is what you are seeing as a country now. So government must look inwards. Where it has gotten to now, it's beyond government alone. It should bring the key stakeholders to the table. Let us judge among ourselves, come out with the propables, find solutions to the issues on the table before us, and then I believe we are good to go. But if government want to handle it solely, that is where the failure comes in.
In all of this, the Chamber of Construction and Industry is calling for a policy-driven agenda to promote locally made building materials. Thus, they believe will reduce the cost of production.
Lending rate as we speak now is 36%, 38% per annum. How can you go and borrow money 38% per annum? Let's take it to have a contract that travels to 2 years or 3 years. So 38 times 3. So by the time you finish, all your profit, everything away. What kind of business is this? How can you break an even out of this? It will be very difficult. So government must look within and then see exactly what we can do. What exactly is the issue? We have the think tanks among us. Let's call for stakeholder engagement, dialogue among ourselves, come out with the propables. I believe with all of the stakeholders, the shareholders and everybody involved, we can solve the problem. That is a home group policy that we bring to the table. If that happens, it will be difficult. Our major concern is about government's non-payment to contractors. Government should pay us on time so that we can also deliver quality. That is our concern.
The construction industry's medium-term outlook looks positive, supported by infrastructure investment and industrialization projects, but needs some more investment to upscale their operations. For Joy Business, James Ishen.
We are still in the customer service week. Every time I make a call this week, I hear happy customer service week. And it's interesting to hear. So let's continue the conversations. And Customer Experience Professionals Ghana is presenting the 4th annual Customer Experience Professionals Ghana Conference. It's a cross-industry meeting place bringing together over 500 professionals. Let's discuss this and get into detail. In the studio with me is Mr. Adino Pulampu. He's managing consultant of Batelier Consulting Limited. I got it right? And then we have Mr. Lawrence Akosin, Senior Manager for Customer Experience at MTN Ghana. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Why are we making a lot of noise this week about customer service and customer experience and customer? What's the importance of all of this? Let me start with you, Mr. Batelier. I nearly said Mr. Batelier, Mr. Pupulampu.
Yeah, so like you said, we are in the Customer Service Week. 7th to 11th October is the Customer Service Week. Before that, on the 1st of October, we had the CX Day, that's Customer Experience Day. And this is an event that has been celebrated for the last 12 years. It's very big. So it's nothing new. You are in the middle of a big customer experience season. And what we have been doing and what we love to do is to let people know the value of customer experience. The fact that if you leave out your customers, you leave out your end users, you leave out those who you are supposed to be serving, you are leaving out a lot of value as a business. And so you hear us making a lot of noise in this area. We in Ghana, the Customer Experience Professionals Association, Customer Experience Professionals Ghana Association, since 2021 we have been at the forefront of these celebrations.
Okay.
Normally what happens is we have an annual conference. And in these conferences, like I said, we highlight what the value that customer experience brings.
And I want to throw that, I'll come to you again for details of this conference, but I want to throw that to Mr. Kosin. You're Senior Manager for Customer Experience at MTN Ghana. Yeah. So you paint the picture for us how crucial customer service is or customer experience is for a business to thrive.
All right, thank you so much. And I'm excited to be here. I think the reality of how businesses operate today has changed. That's one thing that we all need to appreciate. However, what you find is that you find businesses trying to use models that are quite outdated and trying not to appreciate the value of the customer. I mean, that's what we find in our current world. And so today, institutional processes, technology systems can no longer, ignore how valuable the customer is, especially as we live in a very connected world. And so there were times that it was the buyer's advantage. I mean, the buyers could.
The customer is always right.
Exactly. No,
yeah.
Well, yeah,
the point where the customer is always right.
Of course. But the point is, we've moved away from where businesses had strength and had advantage, from the point where you just can't ignore the value of the customer. Okay. So the customers decide and determines, and they have the power of choice. Okay. And so what do you do as businesses? You have to change your models, you have to change your technologies, you have to have CRMs or customer relationship management systems that is able to suit to the changing and expectations of the consumers.
Let me humor you. I think if our leadership treated us as customers, we would be far ahead than we are right now, because then they know that we have a choice. We are the ones who make or break them. But let's talk about the theme for this year's conference, Citizen Experience, We Are Customers. What's that about?
So, like we've been saying, like you just said, you wish the government, the public service would treat us like customers. So we are talking about citizen experience, and many people think customer experience is just limited to business. Now, recently the government launched the Citizen app.
Yeah.
And this goes to show, it just validates what we've been saying all along the while. It's the same kind of interactions that people have with their government, with public institutions. They are looking for speed, they are looking for ease, they are looking for empathy, they are looking for quality, they are looking for the very same things that we give our customers. And that's why it is relevant to us. as CX professionals, we have the tools, the skills, we have been trained in the things that are relevant to dealing with the populace and helping them to engage with what the government intends to do. It's exactly the same kind of skills and mindsets. So
let's talk about the details of this event. What role is MTN Ghana playing in this conference?
I like
and
that
then I'll
point.
come to you, we'll talk about...
Well, I mean, MTN Ghana is one of the sponsors. Okay. I mean, because we believe in the customer. I mean, customer experience is everything that you do. And today we recognize that, and that's why we're part of the conference. But when we look at the conference proper, I think one of the things that is very good to recognize that as customer experience people, we know what we do. And so we are actually hoping to have everybody available on that day. The event is on Friday, 11th October, starts at 9 a.m. The venue is the Labadi Beach Hotel. I mean, they call it behind that we have the big dome. Big event.
Yeah.
Okay, there will be several presentations and panel discussions. And because we know that people will come in early, we're setting up and starting as early at 7:30. So by 7:30, we're going to have breakfast for the teams that are going to, our staff that are, oh yes, you are invited. And then, we give time to the team to network. I mean, catch up with old pals, catch up with old people, and then we go into the main event proper. When we come into the content of the program, we're having very distinguished people. We're having the acting director of SIGA. We're having the Honorable John Boedu come in. We're having the CEO of Adansi Travels. I'm sure you guys deal with Adansi Travels a lot. We will have Mr. Gideon Asari, the CEO of Mr. Gideon Asari from Adansi.
Yeah, so there you have it on your screens right now.
Oh, wonderful, exactly. We have the CEO of Gibbs, Mr. Achi Hesse will be there. The head of Service Excellence at DVLA, Madam Patience Amoabin will be representing, and several other seasoned and respected speakers. Additionally, we would have resource persons who would form the panel for that discussion. So we have representatives from Deloitte, Ghana, KPMG Ghana, PricewaterhouseCoopers Ghana, the Lands Commission, because of course we're talking about citizens' experience, the Data Protection Commission Ghana, GCB Bank PLC, Supertech, and many more.
Okay.
Also, I mean, it's good to point this out that we have an exhibition area that we're going to have vendors come in to exhibit their products. And so it gives our team members the opportunity to interact with the vendors and have the benefit of understanding, appreciating the scope of work in the space. So, I mean, we're inviting everybody to come. Let me not forget Joy FM. You can't take away Joy FM from all of this. To say a big thank you to the team at Joy News, Joy FM and Joy Business, as well as our sponsors, Supertech, of course, MTN Ghana.
Of course. But Mr. Pulampu, apart from the exhibition, the breakfast, looking forward to these industry experts, what's that wow factor, the X factor, for which reason nobody should miss this event tomorrow?
So, of course, we are inviting people to come because of the quality of the information we are giving. That one is something you can't deny. But we have, it's a fun event as well. We have Jeffrey Norte, who will be opening for us. So as icing on the cake, we have, so apart from Jeffrey, the MC is George Sapo of GBC.
Okay.
And our hostess is scintillating, we call her scintillating Amanda Akushi.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting as well.
Thank you so much, and I'm wishing you the very best. I'll give you 30 seconds each to just tell our audience directly to come out and support or come and attend and experience this. I'll start with you, Mr. Pulampu, because he just landed.
Okay, so just taking off again. CX is the future. Like Lawrence has said, you cannot run a business as business used to be run at first. You need to optimize your processes. You need to improve how you get your insight. You need to even upgrade your people in the way you deal with customers and all things related to customers. So please come, and we guarantee a very meaningful engagement.
Final word.
We've done this for 3 years.
Yeah, we're in the fourth.
We are in the fourth year. It's getting bigger every year. We invite as many people. Interestingly, it's been sold out. The main event has been sold out, but the virtual option is available. So we'll invite everybody. Don't take yourself out of it. Customer service, I mean, somebody says is a new selling or is a new sale. So come in, let's do this together. Let's reorient how businesses think into the future.
Thank you. And that there is Mr. Lawrence Akosin, Senior Manager, Customer Experience at MTN Ghana, and Mr. Adino Puplampu is Managing Consultant, Batelier Consulting Limited. And this is for the citizen experience. We are customers. And that's the theme for the Customer Experience Professionals Ghana, presenting the 4th annual Customer Experience right here in Accra. So if you're interested, do well to attend. There's a lot more coming your way on the AM show. Don't go away. And you are still watching the AM show. Now let's talk about the Global Conference on Human Resources in Africa. It's happening on the 24th and the 25th of October at Labadi Beach Hotel. In the studio with me to discuss this is Emmanuel Woyomi, an HR specialist, and Rita Kusi, HR executive and consultant. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Rita, that's a very lovely jacket you have.
Thank you very much. I had to bring my A game. I knew I was coming to
don't do that
today. So.
Right, so let's get into the conversation.
Sure.
How is the Global Conference on Human Resources going to meet the impacts and empower Africa's workforce?
Excellent. That is a great question. So the Global Conference on Human Resources in Africa is happening on the 24th of October, which is exactly 2 weeks away, happening at Labadi Beach Hotel. And our mission is to empower Africa's workforce. How do we do that? We are trying to empower them through upskilling, and of course, just becoming knowledgeable of the technologies that are available and accessible to them, mainly Africa's workforce, those who are here on the continent. And how do you do that effectively is by bringing in HR. Human resource professionals are the ones that manage the workforce within organizations. And so this conference is bringing together HR executives from all over, is also bringing together entry-level, mid-level, technology enthusiasts, and business executives all in one space.
And this is specifically on how you can prepare your workforce for AI revolution.
Yes.
So let me come to you, Mr. Woyomi. Why is it important for a workforce to integrate AI into their daily dealings?
Right. So on a more broader perspectives, organizations exist to achieve value or return on investment. Either they are investing people or they are investing money. They want to get return on that. And usually it is the human resource that acts to make use of other resources to create a value and then achieve return on investment. And as time goes on, technologies are introduced, new tools are developed that ensures efficiency and effectiveness. And until organizations are able to adapt to these technologies and use them, they may not get the return on investment they are looking for. And so over the years, AI wasn't in the space, and even some decades ago, there was nothing like internet or social media. We've been able to adapt or adopt those tools, and we are using them for efficiency and effectiveness. Now we have AI starting the 4th industrial revolution. And if we don't get our employees, the major users of the tools, to upskill to use these tools, organization will not be able to achieve the return on investment they are looking for.
So let's do this. We're discussing, before we went on air, but let me ask you this again. So 2 schools of thoughts.
Right.
One, that AI, the 4th industrial revolution, is taking away jobs from the people.
Right.
The other school of thought is that AI is a superpower that allows you to work more efficiently.
Right.
How do we reconcile the two?
Great. So, this is not the first time people will have concerns about new or innovations like this. Centuries ago, when electricity was invented, people were complaining it could give them electrical shock and they could be killed.
Yeah.
And when automobile was invented, people thought it would take their horse riding business, but usually it replaces and not necessarily kills the job. So Rita was saying earlier that a number of people who will be losing jobs, but then a greater number of people will also be getting new jobs. So there is a solution to this concern. Truly, both arguments are valid. But when you don't take action to upskill and reskill, to learn these skills and these tools to use, then you will be a victim. But there are enormous opportunities in all areas of professions, how you can use respective AI tools for your respective work in order to be efficient and effective.
I want to throw that to you, Rita. So how can small businesses, you know, a lot of business owners out there are just starting, small and medium scale businesses. How can they also adopt AI with their limited resources and, you know, not play catch up when the rest of the world is moving on ahead?
So I'll get to answer that question, but before I get there, I want to also say that I did a virtual session a couple of days ago, and I shared a video from 1995 where Bill Gates was talking about the internet, and he was explaining how this is coming, how to use it. And he was like a laughing stock. They were actually laughing at him. Fast forward,
I think the
2024.
interviewer asked, have you seen a radio or something?
Right, exactly. And look where we are right now. You know, so why this conference is important, I want to bring it back to Africa's workforce. Okay, so with a fast-growing population of 1.4 billion, 70% under the age of 30, the future workforce lies here in Africa. This is where companies are going to come to find talent and to also find the workforce, especially because we live in a global economy. Now we were just talking about gig jobs where you can become a freelance consultant regardless of where you are. If you're not skilled, if you don't have the resources, how can you be in Ghana and have a job working for a company in Dubai? Those are all opportunities that we have available to us now, right? So the stats that I shared earlier is that in 2025, which is next year, next year is a few months away, 85 million jobs will be displaced by AI, but 97 million will also be created. So it depends on how do you look at that as a negative thing or as a positive thing, right? I look at it as positive because I'm going to upskill myself to be able to take up some of these jobs that will be led by, you know, just having AI competency. I run a small business, KUSI Consulting. We're a digital human resource and marketing company. Leverage technology throughout our entire 12 years of operating in Ghana. We started very small. I started off as hybrid. Started using Microsoft Excel, you know, for the recruitment, talent acquisition process. And now we've been leveraging the technologies that are out there. So for small businesses, I would say start where you are. I think there's a lot of pressure and misunderstanding around AI integration in HR or just how to leverage AI. Don't try to understand everything, especially if you're in HR. If you're in talent acquisition, learn about the technologies that you're using for talent acquisition. Don't worry about performance management and payroll. Exactly. Focus on where you are. You know, and now with technology, even with ChatGPT, you can research and find cost-effective, you know, tools that you can use if you're an SME to thrive. You know, so
now let's talk about the conference. Who are we expecting? Who can attend? How do you register? Let's get into it.
I'll first start by, we're expecting Mr. Woyome, who just gave me this awesome book, AI in HR. He is going to be there. He's going to showcase his books during the day 2.
Books. So this is the early one.
So for the day 2, so what we are doing is we're creating an experience, all right, at this conference. It's not just a conference you're coming to, you sit, people talk, and you leave. It's going to be highly interactive, highly engaging. So Johnny C. Taylor Jr., he is undoubtedly the largest HR global knowledge expert out there. You know, his organization, he's the president of SHRM. That organization has over 350 members globally, and they exist in over 180 countries, spanning across Africa. He's coming to deliver the keynote on artificial intelligence, partnering with human intelligence for return on investment for businesses. Because AI cannot thrive without human intelligence. We program it, we speak into, you know, AI. We also have Irene Asare. She is the business director, HR Global HR Director for the BBC. We have Dr. Najat, who's coming all the way from Qatar. She is the chair for the Qatar, HR Forum. Yeah. We have David Sagawa coming from Kenya, also representing
all
Uganda.
Over the world.
I mean, we are definitely bringing in some key players into this conference.
Okay, so who can attend? How can they register?
Sure.
And are they paying for it? Tell us about that.
So we have 3 different options. You can register as a VIP guest. You can register as standard or virtual. The benefits of registering as VIP is you get access to all of the activities that we're organizing. We have a beach networking mixer that's happening on day 2. We have an AI and HR exhibition that's happening. We also have, I mentioned the exhibition. We are calling on companies who have these technologies and tools to come and show HR what you have. Okay. What do we have access to on the continent? Okay. And we've added some tours. That Saturday and Sunday, we get to go to Cape Coast, explore a little bit of our rich culture and history. So I'll throw it over to Mr.
I understand now when you said you were creating an experience, not just a conference.
Yes.
Right. Okay, Mr. William, what would you add to that?
So I think you asked the kind of people we are expecting. Generally, we are looking forward to meeting HR professionals.
Right.
However, because AI is diverse, anyone from any professional background is equally invited, CEOs, entrepreneurs, business executives, because the insight they will gain, even when they are not HRs, they are able to understand the need to fund some initiatives, especially those at the decision-making table. Right. If only HR understand the need to upskill in the AI perspective, but management doesn't understand, they may not give approval to some of their proposals. So business executives, CEOs, but dominantly 100%. HR professionals.
Okay, so let's wrap it up with contact details.
Sure.
And yes, for more information, if they want to get in touch with you.
So we just partnered, and I have to say this as a, based on what Mr. Williams just said. So the Ghana FinTech and Payment Association has just partnered with us. Why would the Ghana FinTech partner with HR? Because when we talk about tech, we are all integrated in some way, shape, or form. HR has access to these platforms as well. So the way you can contact us is pretty simple. Visit our website, gchrafrica.com. Again, that's gchrafrica.com. You can also call us at +233 055 408 1727. Give us a call, send us a WhatsApp. We are available and ready to, to assist and help you to be a part of this conference, whether in person or virtual.
And so that is preparing your workforce for the AI revolution. Don't forget, it is, in fact, the 4th industrial revolution, so don't play catch-up. Emmanuel Woyome is an HR specialist, and Rita Kusi, an HR executive and consultant. Right. Thank you for joining us, and I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much. And I want to just give a shout out to our partners and sponsors. Okay, so there's Rigworld Solutions Limited, there's Pamacor, there's Delta Airlines is a sponsor, South Africa Airlines. We also have CIHRM. Dr. Francis Aduku and his team, they are Ghana's regulatory HR body in Ghana. Very important for us to have their support. SHRM, I mean, they're all over our website, ICS Africa, so make sure to visit. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, too. All right, and that's how we're ending this belt of conversation on the AM show, but there's still a lot coming your way. But before we go, Ghana, your favorite radio stations are back on tuning. Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Ishira FM. All your beloved multimedia group brands are now back on TuneIn. So wherever you are, we've got you covered. Yes, Joy FM, Love FM, Adom FM, Asempa FM, and Ishira FM are all back on TuneIn. So tune in to the best of news, music, sports, and entertainment from Ghana's top stations. Anytime, anywhere on TuneIn. Go to the App Store or Google Play Store to download TuneIn and listen to all your beloved multimedia group brands to stay connected and entertained. So to come, we'll be right back with more. Pansec has been trending since yesterday. As you can see, the trophy is right here in the studio of Joy News. Folks, let's welcome the winners of the Senior High School's Renewable Energy Challenge, Pando Senior High School. Congratulations to you guys. Congratulations. Congratulations. And this is a beautiful trophy. So let's get the names first. We have Bismarck, we have Delight, we have Valeria, and
Mr. Colette.
Mr. Colette, let me start from you. How does it feel to be here this morning with this beautiful trophy with your proud students?
In fact, I'm very joyful yesterday. Yeah. If you could see, I think there's some picture trending when I was on the floor. I never expected it because the competition was so competitive. Yes.
It was tough.
And the kind of things I saw there, without small thing, I said,
You thought your thing was small?
Yeah, I thought it was small, but what we know is that we are solving the entire problem. Yes.
Right, you did in fact solve the problem. Yes. Bismarck, first of all, how does it feel? And then we'll talk about what inspired you guys to create such an innovative thing. Bismarck, how are you feeling this morning?
So excited.
Hey, this is your excitement, dear. Eh? Yeah. Talk to me. How does it feel?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Okay. Same as you, Delight?
Yes.
Tell me more than I'm excited. You have a trophy. You are the winners. The entire... You know the number of schools that participated and you came up tops. I was actually rooting for Dabokba Senior High School because I like the name. But they didn't come close to you. Valeria, what about you?
I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I wasn't really expecting it, but like, I'm just so happy.
Why?
Because...
Why weren't you expecting it?
Okay, seeing the machines, the other machines were bigger than ours. And then if they had to say they want to select the winner, looking at the machines, we will know where we'll be closer to the first position. But like, we are solving the problem, so we deserved it.
So let's talk about that. What problem did you solve? For the benefit of our audience who don't know what's happening here. Delight, do you want to tell us about it?
Yeah. So per the team, we solved land degradation and water pollution. So with our machine, though small, because we made it to collect plastic waste, and we didn't just leave it there. So from the plastic waste, we processed it into useful products.
Like?
Like the tire we used to make our stew, and our PL stew, which represents the stew we use in our laboratories.
And it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So was it a challenging task for you, Bismarck?
Yes, please.
How challenging was it?
Okay, my school is a secondary school, so we like the equipment for this. So it was very, very challenging.
Even with less, you were able to do so much more. And so eventually, when you were announced the winners, did you think that all the hard work, although you didn't have as much as you would have liked to have, has paid off? Valeria?
Yes, I'm so happy.
Okay, so what's next for Pando Senior High School?
Yeah, I'm glad that CSIR, they said they are going to develop the project, and then we will be happy when they develop the project.
To commercialize
to commercialize what we have, and I think it's going to take, let me say, 90% of the plastic out of the system. Yeah, 90%. Because if you look at the block that we presented, it has 5 bottles. And if you are to have just like a single room self-contained, which is about 1,005 blocks, you need 7,500 pieces of plastic bottles. So imagine you're having a building like this. You need almost the entire bottles around this area. Yeah, so our project is...
But who came up with the idea in terms of conceptualization? Was it them? Was it you? Was it a team effort? Tell us a bit about that.
Okay, the idea was from me when that disaster happened at Circle.
Okay.
There's been a problem for me, and then I've been thinking of it. What is the real cause? So when this project came, I met with my team, and then they came out with a machine. Yeah, because they said, we cannot go in and pick the plastics. We need a machine. So they came out with a machine, and then they came up with a drawing. I said, wow, then this is a
so
good
even
team.
you were surprised?
Seriously.
Okay.
So they came up with a machine and the drawings, and I said, wow, this is a team I can move with. And so that's why we stood together, and then...
What inspired so much confidence in you guys that you could actually create something like this, Delight?
Okay, looking at when we saw the topic, we were really happy because land degradation and water pollution is a really serious problem Ghana has been facing. So we were very excited seeing it, and it inspired us to come up with our project.
Was there any point during the construction, implementation, in fact, the entire competition where you thought, now we have to give up? Valeria, did you have such moments, and how did you overcome those?
Yes, we experienced such moments. Making our machine was not easy. We tried so many times. Sometimes some of the things get destroyed. Then we have to start. We
from scratch?
Yes. And it was not easy. We didn't have the tools. And then we are secondary as well. We faced some problems, and then we felt discouraged. But the joy of helping my country kept us moving. And then the trophy as well.
When you say you're secondary school, what does that mean? I've heard you say it, you said it first. Or because you were competing against technical schools as well, and you were just a secondary school, is that it?
Yes.
What difference does it make, really? Bismarck?
Okay, for the secondary school, we just deal with the theory aspect. But for the technical school, they deal with the practical, they have the tools and equipment that they use for them.
Okay. Yeah. Are you all science students?
Yes.
Okay, so this is like you're playing in your field. Right, so those watching us right now are taking a lot of inspiration from you. They're celebrating you. I'll give you each a minute. I'll come to you last, and then you can talk to us about how this feels, looking forward to the future, and the many things that I think or I hope that you'll be doing for the country. I'll start with you, Bismarck.
Okay. So we are thinking of eradicating the plastic waste from our country and making Ghana one of the neatest countries in the world. Yeah.
You want to make Ghana one of the neatest countries in the world.
Yeah.
President Akufo-Addo will be happy to hear you say this. Delight Mensah, what about you?
Same. The plastic waste is the major problem. Getting rid of the plastic is not an easy thing. So once we've been able to come up with this project, we are expecting the government to adopt it. It's going to be useful, and the whole citizen should also know how to handle our plastic waste.
Valeria?
Okay. So now that we brought our idea to the large market, we pray and then hope that they develop into something bigger to just make the country neat.
No, go ahead.
Yes, basically. And anyone out there who also wants to help, they should keep pushing. It's not impossible, it is possible. They should keep doing what they do.
Keep doing what you do because it is possible. Let's take the final word from the able teacher that helped them steer them to victory.
Yeah, my main goal, what I want to achieve is that I want in the nearest future, people will be able to segregate their own plastics, bring to our company, we pay them, and then we eliminate the plastic from the system.
So you want to create or build a company?
Yes.
From this?
Yes.
Fantastic. Does it mean we'll not be seeing you in Bando Senior High Schools for the rest of the year or the rest of the term?
I may be assisting.
Okay.
I may be assisting, but my main goal is to establish a company that can take off. The plastic is a menace, and it's a gold to us. That's why our topic is harnessing plastic as gold. It's gold to us, and so we want to make good use of it. It's not going to be wasted.
Well, congratulations to you. I'll give you a minute to jubilate. I love the trophy. It's all gold. Don't be deceived. It's gold. And you can take your trophy. You can celebrate with us. Congratulations. What was the tagline again? Truth and something.
Light and truth.
So I say Pando Senior High School.
Light and truth.
Panseg.
Light and truth.
Panseg.
Light and truth.
Panseg.
Light and truth.
Congratulations. And that's how we're wrapping up for the AM show this morning. It's been the midweek edition. My name is Sweetie Abochi, and I did this with Benjamin Akakpo. We're back on your screens tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. You don't want to miss it because we are your most informative, educative, and analytical breakfast show on the block. Thank you so much for watching, and stay for Faustina Safo. She's serving you desk.